Paul Blackburn's return to the rotation started out well. The young righty, who's a big part of the A's future, was solid in his first game back from injury. But Blackburn's second start did not go well. He gave up 8 earned runs. Paul will look to get back on track, piece together a quality start, and forget his last outing. Blackburn and the A's take on the Padres. Coming up next. Well, the A's 10-game road trip starts tonight at beautiful Petco Park in downtown San Diego. Interleague baseball with Paul Blackburn getting the ball for the Athletics. It's the A's and the San Diego Padres coming up on NBC Sports California, powered by Xfinity. Hi again, everybody, and welcome to Oakland A's baseball. Along with Ray Fosse, I'm Glenn Kuiper. So Paul Blackburn making his 3rd start of the year. His last start against a very, very hot Astros team was not very good, so I don't think there's any question he's going to bounce back.
Let's just look back to Kansas City because he pitched well against the Royals. Unfortunately, not many people have pitched well against the Houston Astros, and I think that's what happened to Paul Blackburn. But remember, too, when he pitched against the Royals, that might have been another rehab assignment. He did start for the A's and pitch well, so let's hope his 3rd start against a National League team can do well for him tonight.
All right, on Sunday, the A's had one of their best wins of the year, and they did it against a team they're chasing in the division, so that made it even better. But maybe the best win of the year.
Down 2 runs in the 9th inning. What better way to come back as Marcus Semien started with the ball off the foul pole. Blake Parker gave it up there. He would not finish that inning, but the A's would come back, and it really started and finished. Started here with Fowler, a great read on a pitch that was in the dirt. Then Mark Cannon with a 2-out base hit off the end of the bat that would tie the game. And then Mark Cannon made an unbelievable catch. He said to me today, he says, I was going to catch that no matter what, and he did. A big saver there for Blake Trinan. And then with 5 infielders and Jonathan Lucroy, he said, forget about the grand slam, just hit the ball off the base of the wall. The A's had the victory. And I agree with you, Kai. The fact that they did it against a Western Division team, the win gave them the series win. They also got them back to the 500 mark as they start this series tonight.
All right, so interleague baseball coming up from Petco Park in San Diego. We'll have that for you in just a little bit. But up next, we're going to head back to the A's pregame live studios, and then we'll have lineups and first pitch from San Diego. Stick around.
Toyota, designed for the grind that comes through every time. See your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places. By Southwest Airlines, low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And by Jack in the Box. Try the $5.99 Jack Spicy Chicken Club combo with toasted sourdough. New from Jack in the Box.
San Diego Padres take the field. It's a two-game series between the A's and the Padres. So night game today, day game tomorrow, and then the A's are heading out of town to Chicago. Game time weather tonight is presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is open daily. It's 67 degrees, so pretty nice weather. It was It was warm today, but not terribly hot where it was uncomfortable. In fact, it was kind of felt like the Bay Area this morning. Cool in the morning, and then it got very nice in the afternoon. It is a Bark at the Park night, and there's a beautiful park out past center field, and that's where a lot of people are hanging out. Not a bad place to watch a ball game from. Here's the Athletics lineup for tonight. It's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Marcus Semien will lead off at short. Pinder's at second, Lowry's in left. Chris Davis will play, or Lowry's at third, excuse me. Chris Davis will play left field. Matt Olson's at first, Canna's in center, Piscotti is in right. Luke Croy will catch, and the pitcher will hit. That's Paul Blackburn.
And there is a lefty who will hit also. His name is Eric Lauer, that the A's will be seeing for the first time ever. The 11th start for the young left-hander. The very high earned run average, but I guess you could say if you get on first base, you better pay attention. He has a great move to first.
First pitch of the ball game is called a strike. So we're underway from San Diego. 7-10 first pitch. Lauer working quickly. Umpires tonight, that's the crew chief Tom Hallion calling balls and strikes, and then it's Sean Barber, Phil Cuzzy, and Dan Bellino. 1-2 now to Marcus Semien. So the first of a 10-game road trip for the Athletics, and the first of a long 2-game homestand for the Padres. We're going to mention the Padres' schedule, where they're at right now in their schedule, and you'll be quite surprised. They have reason to complain.
Yes, considering they were in Atlanta yesterday or 2 days ago and got reacclimated to their home city for a couple of days.
Foul territory. Looks like Hosmer's going to have room, and he does. So Marcus Semien pops out, and that's the first out of the game. Defensively for the San Diego Padres, Jankowski, he's very fast. He's in left field. Manny Margot is in center, and Franmil Reyes is in right. Then it's Spangenberg, Galvis, Perella, and Hosmer on the infield with Rafi Lopez doing the catching. So maybe some unfamiliar names to our viewers back in the Bay Area, and quite frankly, maybe some unfamiliar names to Ray Fosse and Glenn Kuiper.
That's right. Do see the Padres in spring training a few times, but the great Mickey Morbido, director of team travel, has a schedule they push together. It's usually play one in Peoria, where the Padres are with the Mariners, and one time in Mesa. But the names are there, but you see them so infrequently that it is a little bit different.
Quick 0-2 to Chad Pinder, and he struck him out swinging. So a high fastball at 95, and Pinder strikes out, so that's 2 away.
Well, it's all about scouting reports. It's all about Adam Roden, the A's video coordinator, trying to help these guys as much as possible with watching their deliveries. That high fastball just went up the ladder and got the job done. But maybe it takes one time through the batting order, paying attention to a lefty they'd never seen before. As the Padres will say the same thing about Paul Blackburn as he takes the mound for the A's.
Pitchcast is brought to you by SoFi, a modern finance company. There's the pitch usage this season for Eric Lauer. So fastballs and cutters. And if he's got a good cutter going, that's where a lot of pitches will be hit.
Absolutely.
Foul balls down the left field line. And if it's a good one, he's going to get in and sting some hands on the right-handed hitters.
That's a good point, Kai, because if he tries to throw the cutter in, we saw when David Price tried to do it with Chris Davis at the Coliseum, it did not get it in. And unfortunately for a pitcher with a cutter throwing to right-handed hitters, if you don't get it inside where you want it, it remains right in the middle of the plate, and velocity can help out a little bit. Pretty good manager, and Andy Green
Good young manager.
Mark McGuire standing next to him as a bench coach. Familiar with him, 11 years at the Coliseum for the Athletics with 363 home runs. Big Mac, bench coach for Andy Green.
Full count now to Jed Lowry. Lowry at third base again tonight. 284 with 9 home runs and 43 runs batted in.
Jed, after a little bit of a tough spell, picking it up quite a bit. There is Mark McGuire with 583 career.
That one is hit to left field. Hit well. Going back is Jankowski, and in front of the wall, he makes the catch. Side retired. So a well-struck ball by Lowry, but Jankowski tracks it down. San Diego Padres set to take on Paul Blackburn, and here's their lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Jankowski, Spangenberg, Hosmer, Perella, Galvis, Reyes, Margot, Lopez, and the pitcher Lauer.
And Paul Blackburn will make his third start of this season. Start of the season on the disabled list, so he is making his third start, first ever against the San Diego Padres. First one was good against the Royals. You could probably throw the next one in the trash because the first inning was a soft line drive for a base hit, an infield hit, a walk, a 2-run double, 3 runs the first inning, and that was it for Paul Blackburn. But still a very good pitcher. And Cap, I think one of the things about him, and we talk about guys who get ground balls and strikeouts, he's more of a ground ball pitcher, which can be outstanding if he can have the Padres hit the ball on the ground.
1-1 the count to Travis Jankowski.
Nice to be able to strike out a batter when you need to, but I think I'd rather see a ground ball pitcher because you keep the ball on the ground. That's going to help you win ball games.
Up the middle, Jankowski's fast. The throw to first. Got him. Nice play by Chad Pinder. He did not have any margin for error, and they just got Jankowski.
Now Pinder had to charge. Remember, Jed Lowry, with the absence of Matt Chapman, Blackburn probably knows exactly what you're talking about. He tried to grab it, could not. And maybe fortunately he did deflect it because Pinder has a very strong arm as he plays a lot of different positions. That probably helps him playing second base, which is a shorter throw, especially throwing the way he did, a little bit off balance. Got a lot on the throw.
Here's Corey Spangenberg, the third baseman. Padres, as we said, a lot of names that we obviously don't recognize or don't know a lot about, but they are missing 2 of their big power hitters. Remember Will Myers, who we saw Will Myers with the Rays. Will Myers is on the disabled list with an oblique. He's been out since the end of April. So Padres without really a main middle of the order hitter, and also they have a young man by the name of Franchi Cordero, who's a big, strong left-handed hitter, and he's on the disabled list as well with a forearm injury. So 2 pretty big hitters out of the Padres lineup, and it's a lineup that has not done a whole lot of damage this year. They're 13th in the National League in runs scored out of 15 teams. Hit foul left side. Let's take a look at the A's defense. See Chris Davis in left field tonight. It's the 5th start this year for Chris Davis in left field. Canna's in center, Piscotty in right. Lowry, Simeon, Pinder, and Olsen on the infield with Luke Roy doing the catching. So Chris Davis, you got to have his bat in there, obviously, and the only way to do that is to play him in left field.
And Cap, I think as you were talking in our open about that exact same thing, and for Chris Davis, that's where he played. That was in Los Angeles against the Dodgers early part of the season when the A's were in Anaheim, then down to Los Angeles, and you have to do it. I mean, it's your best hitter. You know, I mean, if you can't play because of an injury, it's one thing, but National League Park, you got to find a place for him. Just like David Ortiz with Boston when he played.
3-2 pitch, a little bit inside, and it's a 1-out walk to Spangenberg. Well, tonight, any 95-mile-per-hour fastball is our fast pitch, brought to you by Xfinity, the fastest Wi-Fi at home and on the go. And Blackburn may not reach that. Lauer may not reach that, but just in case, there's relievers that always do. See, nowadays you're guaranteed. Xfinity's guaranteed. Once you get to the bullpen, you're going to get 95.
Oh, yeah. You're shocked if you don't.
Exactly.
But Eric Hosmer is wearing the number 30 in honor of his late teammate, Yordano Ventura. Of course, number 35 that he wore in Kansas City is retired here by the name of Randy Jones, who, speaking of never seeing an Xfinity pop up, Randy Jones, because he said, I didn't want to throw about 85 miles an hour, maybe, but a lot of movement, and that's why Hosmer is wearing the number 30. Unfortunately, Yordano Ventura, pitcher for the Royals, died in a car crash. Hosmer, a big free agent signee.
It was an 8-year deal that got Hosmer to San Diego, although the Padres were rumored to be in the mix for Hosmer really the entire offseason.
Yeah. Well, I asked him, I said, man, it's late. He said, I didn't have a choice. And that's the way the offseason was last year, unfortunately, for free agents.
Yeah, he signed on the 19th of February,
yeah.
So spring training had already started. But he still got an 8-year deal. Well over $100 million. So
I think his teammate, former teammate Moustakas, would have loved to have gotten that.
About half.
Similar to that.
So Hosmer said, you know what? San Diego's the place to be. And the Padres have not had a lot of success recently. I mean, they have had 7 straight losing seasons. But from what baseball people will tell you, they have a terrific farm system. And they're not that far away. So Hosmer will be something they can build around, along with Will Myers. Both guys are signed long term.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Myers was playing some first base, and from what I understood, that whenever they were going to sign Hosmer, they went to him and he said, "Hey, I'll move.
Sure.
You sign him, I'll move."
Absolutely.
And of course, played the outfield for the Rays. But Will Myers is a good player, so you're right. They've got a lot to build on and build with for the future.
2-2 pitch is high. So now it's 3-2 to Hosmer. Spangenberg runs pretty well, so don't be surprised if he takes off.
And the outfield shading Hosmer to the opposite field because he is a very, very good opposite field hitter, as the A's saw firsthand in 14, a play-in game in Kansas City. He had a triple off the left field wall. Chris Davis really playing him as like a right-handed pull hitter in left field.
Spangenberg dives back in.
Now the report for Blackburn, he's a ground ball pitcher. You'd have to think that Spangenberg is going to be running. Hosmer is a good contact hitter, and if it is a ground ball that the A's are hopeful of getting, it'd be tough to get a double play if he's on the move.
There he goes. Hosmer lines it to left field. That's a base hit, and they're going to try for third. Davis's throw not in time, so Spangenberg got to second base, and he had the play right in front of him, and he never really stopped, so it's first and third.
Now there's your opposite field hitting by Hosmer. The pitch away, a little bit up, maybe even out of the strike zone, but a perfect pitch for him to hit the ball solidly to left field. And you know, Chris Davis has not played a lot out in the outfield, and you're right, Spangenberg with his speed, he got to second. So in essence, it's like he was going from second to third on a base hit to left field, because as he reached second base, the ball was hit to the outfield.
Opposite field hits. Yep. Eric Hosmer has 28 now. That's 5th most in all of baseball. Actually, as I look, it's tied for 3rd most.
Well, that
But
guy
he's always done that.
Guy named J.D. Martinez hits home runs the opposite field.
Here's Jose Perella, second baseman, hitting in the cleanup spot. And he bounces one foul. Jose Perella. He's got 17 doubles, 2 triples, 1 homer, and 22 RBIs.
If there's ever a time the A's are looking for a ground ball, this is it. And for Paul Blackburn, 12 ground ball outs in the first start against the Royals. And just 3 in the air. Of course, he didn't last long just in the second inning in his second start. That was against the Astros.
Quick throw, Hosmer back. Perella from Venezuela. He's 28 years old. Actually was originally a Yankee. Came over in a trade to the Padres in November of 2015. Bounces this one in the hole. Simeon's got it. He fires to second for one. On to first. Not in time. And Jankowski comes in to score. And the Padres lead 1-0. So the aggressive base running by the Padres helps them in the very first inning.
Well, just the fact that Marcus Semien has to go to his right several steps, that slowed down his throw to second base. And for Perella, smelling at least an RBI if he can avoid a double play. He does it. Pinder, the strong arm across the bag, but no chance to throw him out. And you know, you'd like to have a double play ground ball at least near you at shortstop. In the case of Semien, had to move too far to his right, and that just is not a formula for a double play. He got the ground ball, but not right at the fielder.
So 2 away, and here's Freddie Galvis. Galvis is a switch hitter. Galvis spent a fair amount of time with the Philadelphia Phillies. In fact, he was in the regular shortstop for the last 3 years. And put together some pretty good seasons.
Yeah, we saw him last September, as a matter of fact.
That's right. He came over in a trade this past offseason. Padres with a number of good young middle infielders that they wanted to play, and or the Phillies with a number of good young infielders they wanted to play. So that's why Galvis was available, and the Padres grabbed him. Remember Fernando Tatis?
Yes.
Pretty good hitter, right? Well, his son, Fernando Tatis Jr., is a marquee prospect
Yes.
in the San Diego Padres organization. He's very young. He's only 19 years old, but he is the shortstop of the future, and he's supposed to be terrific.
Well, we saw him in spring training, and he was outstanding. And you're right, you're a very young player, definite future for this club.
So the Padres are thinking, well, we need a stopgap at short, and Galvis is a pretty good player.
And then there's some other players that had their sons. I was thinking that Bartolo Colon faced somebody who's 16 years ago. He faced his father.
His dad.
And congratulations to Bartolo for winning his 244th. Puts him ahead, the leader now, and past the great.
That's right. He passed Juan Marichal.
Dominican dandy. Vladimir Guerrero's son with Toronto. I mean, there's a lot of these young players coming up with their fathers who had played. In the case of Guerrero, go to Cooperstown this July.
Quick throw to first, and diving back is Perella.
Fernando Tatis hit 2 grand slams in 1 inning.
That's right, 1 inning.
Cardinals.
Good call.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that on TV.
Yeah.
Pitch number 23 here in the first inning for Blackburn. There goes, and it is a swing and a miss, and the swing and a miss is strike 3, and that ends the inning. A run for the Padres, so 1-0 San Diego after 1. Sports. Nominate a student athlete you know at nbcsports.com/fairplay, and they could be featured on TV. Chris Davis leading things off here in the top of the second, 1-0 San Diego. Davis with 20 home runs and 49 runs batted in. He'll be followed by Olson and Kenna. A's come in with a record of 36 and 36, so they are right at the 500 mark, and they're also at 500 on the road. They're 16 and 16.
That's why the game on Sunday was so huge for the A's to win the series and beat the Angels. And, well, what a big article today, of course. Article about Bob Melvin in front office, but also about the Angels and Mike Trout. He said the magic number 3, only 3 postseason games that he's played, and the way they're going down quickly in the division.
So Chris Davis, a 4-pitch walk, excuse me.
15 players on the DL at the same time. It's unheard of.
And that's not, that's not the front office's fault. And that's
no.
Mike Trout's fault. It's just, it's the reality of baseball.
Exactly. But I think what they're looking at, Mike Trout due to be a free agent in 2020, and so, but right now the A's are just trying to move up the ladder as much and as quickly as possible and try to stay within striking distance of the Astros, and the Mariners, 2 clubs playing extremely well in the division.
So Matt Olson steps up. This is the start of a stretch for the A's where they will play 20 of the next 25 on the road. So 20 out of 25 on the road, and you can stretch that out for 10 more days if you want, and then it's 27 of the next 35 on the road. So this is the schedule through the All-Star break, and that's where the 27 out of 35 come in. If you look at you have this long road trip, and then you have Indians and Padres, but that's a total of 5 games.
Exactly.
And then you go back out on the road, and that's a tough trip. You go to Cleveland, you go to Houston, you play across the bay against San Francisco, and then after the All-Star break, you have 3 at home against the Giants, and then you're out again for I believe it's a 6 or 7 game road trip. So
now that's a 7, I think, to Colorado and Texas, Arlington. But it's
it's a tough stretch. I mean, 27 out of 35. That's a lot of road games. And even if the 3 in San Francisco, but it's still a road game. I mean, you're still playing in another team's park. 2-1 pitch. Olson bunts it, and he bunts it past Matt Williams' foul. But the A's have played better on the road as this season has gone on. Each road trip has gotten a little bit better. And they hit the home runs on the road. They have 55 home runs in 32 road games, compared to 36 in 40 home games. So the A's have played 8 more home games than road games.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, this guy has a nasty move.
It's picked off 7, and you can see that little quick darting throw that you don't have to get very far off, but he can shut down a running game.
7 pickoffs. Big bouncer. Perella with a nice play to Galvis on to first. Safe.
I bet they look at that one.
Well, Perella kind of had to wait for that big hop. Ball had a little top spin on it. Let's take a look at it and see how close it was at first base.
Well, Matt Olson, for a big man, can run, and there's the little confusion with the shift. And Andy Green, the manager, waiting for Mark McGuire, the bench coach, and I think just looking at that last one is enough to say he is safe and should be able to continue baseball.
Close. His foot touched the front of the bag. Bob Melvin's coming out. He wants to chat with Tom Hallion. Not sure what that would be about.
Oh, he's going to take a look at second base, and maybe he wasn't on the bag at second.
That's
Bob
a possibility.
Melvin. Yeah, and that's we saw that in Seattle a couple years ago when they first started this, that it was Adam Roden who called down and said, hey, take a look at second base, because I don't think his foot was on the bag. And concerned about first base, they said, no, let's check at second base. It's not the neighborhood anymore. That maybe there's a question. Maybe his foot wasn't on the bag. because the neighborhood play does not exist any longer. Oh, he's off. Wow. That may be a better call for the Athletics. See, when he catches the ball, he's bringing his foot in towards it. And Bob Melvin immediately went out to talk to Tom Hallion.
Here's the look. There it is.
Now he's off the bag. He's off the bag. And
so the A's are going to get a call here. There's no question about it.
Yeah, it's going to be first and second. Should be.
They're going to go safe at second.
Save it second and save it first.
Yeah.
Great call. There's your Adam Roden video coordinator right there, folks. That is paying attention. That is paying attention. We're all concerned about first base, but there's a great shot there to have his foot off the bag. You catch the ball. There's no – see, in the past, that is a neighborhood play. That he's in the neighborhood, and it would have been called out. But now it's not neighborhood because they're protecting the second baseman and shortstop. So it's an error.
It's a fielder's choice and an E6.
E6, and good call. But great call on the skipper, Adam Rode, Ryan Christensen, the bench coach. So they were on the phone while Andrew Green and Mark McGuire were on the phone as well.
So 2 on, nobody out for Canna. And Canna takes inside. Wow. So a nice break for the Athletics. You go from being worried that it's going to be a double play to there's nobody out. And I think that the point you're making about the neighborhood play, it's that you don't, if you're the runner, or I'm sorry, if you're the fielder, you don't need to worry about it. You don't need to do what he did.
And that's why they took the neighborhood plate away, because they wanted to protect the infielders and say, okay, if you're near the bag, they call it the neighborhood. If you're near second base and somebody's coming at you to take out you for a double play, but now they can't do that. They can't deviate away from, so you've got to stay on the bag, and that's a great call. Boy, that's sharp on Adam Roden's part right there, because he's making a call up in the clubhouse.
So 1-1 to Canna. Piscotti to follow. And that one misses. 2-1. Quite a ball game for Mark Canna on Sunday. He did a little bit of everything.
Absolutely. And he said he was so proud because he had a home run. Remember, in New York on Mother's Day, hit one on Father's Day. And a father for the first time, so a great day for him and for his wife. And so everything all good for Mark Canna, as he was very quick to point out that home run on both days, that's pretty special.
A little bit low, and now he's sitting on a 3-1 count.
You know, the scouting report on Eric Lauer is that he can be a little bit wild.
Yeah, and he's not necessarily a hard thrower either. Davis at second, Olson at first. Lauer, long look. And it's bounced into the hole, and it's into left field. The base hit. Chris Davis is going to be held at third as Jankowski charged it. So now the A's have the bases loaded and nobody out.
The left fielder playing very shallow, Jankowski, and Cap, you said it best when he made the play. He does run well, and he charged this ball. Of course, Matt Williams always aggressive at third. See the big hole between third and short. But Jankowski charging, and it's very, very difficult, especially with nobody out, for Matt Williams to be too aggressive and have Davis try to score, which probably would not have been a possibility.
So, big opportunity for Stephen Piscotti.
Mark Canna is saying, boy, you can play. And he says, I know. He said, they haven't even seen my best yet. I said, okay. But that's a lot of confidence in Mark Canna. And again, remember, he was the guys were talking back in the studio about Rule 5 players. And Mark Canna a couple years ago had a great year, had a hip surgery, and now he's back and really believes in himself a lot.
Piscotti hits it hard. Galvis has it. Out at second, a barehanded play by Perella. On to first, a double play. Davis comes in to score to tie up the game. And now there are 2 outs. Nifty play by the middle infield of the Padres, Galvis and Perella.
It probably was unnecessary to do it that way, but you do it, taking a big chance. First of all, you catch the ball. Second of all, do you have a good enough grip? But evidently he did, and made a nice play to turn to. The A's score the run, no RBI. Like Omar Vizquel. What did they? Intentional walk, of
Yeah,
course.
they're going to walk Lucroy with the pitcher coming up.
The National League, but Vizquel and Chris Bonsio's no-hitter, final play of the game,
right.
barehanded at shortstop.
Why not?
Yeah.
What's the big deal, right?
Just a no-hitter on the line. All right, Paul, here we go.
0 for 3, couple of strikeouts for Blackburn.
Just don't hurt yourself. Yeah, he looks like a hitter, though, doesn't he?
I like his stance. Good take. I think if you're a pitcher, an American League pitcher, and then you have to hit in the National League Park, I think you have to treat it a little bit like golf, where you can be a really bad golfer, but you can look good, right? You can dress nice, and you can get a little waggle going on the tee box.
You freeze it right there. That's a big league hitter.
That's what I'm saying. See, that's a good hack right there.
But that's a big league hitter.
Now, if he's on the golf course and he hits it, he may pump it 2 fairways right, but it doesn't matter.
It looks good. Got a good-looking golf bag.
That's a pretty good-looking swing.
Yeah. Look at all the pitchers laughing. Yeah,
Montas, don't laugh too much.
That's right. That's right. You got it tomorrow. You know what's interesting in this situation? You got all the Blackburn and all the pitchers in the American League. It's like a position player when Smolinski pitched the other day. You know, it's like it's a big laugh. Everybody's trying to conceal and hide all their humor.
Quick throw, and there's that nasty move.
You know, you've got the pitcher hitting. You intentionally walk the guy. Why are you paying attention to him at first base? Because you could make a bad throw, pick off your first baseman, let a run score when you figure you have a pretty good chance getting the hitter out.
Tap slowly, left side. That's Spangenberg on to first. And that will do it for the A's, but they get a run, a leadoff walk. Davis comes in to score. Bottom of the second coming up. In Oakland, now we want the fans to pick the most memorable moment. It's a season-long promotion tonight. Dallas Braden's perfect game in 2010. He's been winning a lot lately, and it's going to go up against Terrence Long's great catch. Be back in 2002 at Fenway Park. Well, you have what is a full game against one play, and they were both terrific. Fans vote through our A's Twitter poll. The play that wins advances to face the next memorable moment. The perfect game of Dallas Braden has advanced now 11 times,
yeah,
so he's just rolling along.
He's only about, 23 in Major League history, so that's pretty special. That catch by Terrence Long, Manny Ramirez couldn't believe it didn't go out, which was out. He just brought it back. But you saw the reaction of Billy Koch, who gave it up. So that's a nice line. The Athletics, fortunately, the only one that doesn't have an error. Otherwise, it's a picket fence, all ones, and Paul Blackburn got a chance to hit. Needs to stand at the plate and look good hitting.
So bottom of the second, Franmil Reyes, who's the right fielder, is going to lead things off.
On this situation, this inning, it's the 6, 7, 8. You'd like to have 1, 2, 3 inning for Paul Blackburn, have the pitcher leading off the 3rd inning.
That's all things that you look at a little differently when you're playing in a National League park and the pitcher is hitting. Bob Melvin talked about it today, and I thought he made some very interesting points. He was meeting with the media, and he was asked, you know, there's been some talk recently, maybe a little bit more than normal, about the possibility of, that one is lined to left. Davis back, and Davis is going to play it off the base of the wall. Reyes is going to hustle for second, and he's going to make it. So that's a leadoff double. So Reyes ripped that one right off the base of the wall.
Now Blackburn fell behind the 2-0, a hanging breaking ball, and that's what happens when you hang one. This ball hooking away from Chris Davis, played it off the wall, and as he threw it, went back towards the shortstop area. Just try to get the ball back in as quickly as possible, trying to hold Reyes to a single, but that did not happen.
So here's Manuel Margot. Margot is the center fielder. And the first pitch is fouled back. So Bob was asked the question, you know, what do you think about in the league? Do you like it? Or what do you think about the DH becoming the norm in both leagues? Which there's a little more conversation about that recently. Not a lot, but a little bit. And Bob said, you know, he actually likes the two different games.
Sure.
He likes that the American League has the DH, National League doesn't, and that it's just a little bit different. It separates the two leagues. But then he made a good point when asked about interleague games. He said what he would like to see is when you're playing in this ballpark, National League Park, use the DH.
Right.
Both teams have the DH. And then if these two teams played in an American League park, then play it where the pitcher hits. Because his point was, and we've talked about this, that there is somewhat of a disadvantage for an American League team to come into a National League Park and lose what is probably going to be one of their best hitters, the designated hitter. So his point was, well, if you let them use the DH, and the other team obviously uses the DH, but then it evens things out a little bit because the other team still is playing at home, which is an advantage.
No, exactly.
And I thought it was it's an interesting concept because it wouldn't really affect anything. It would just be, hey, let's show Padre fans the American League game.
Absolutely.
And let's show A's fans the National League game. And it's really a pretty good idea, I thought.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've heard that before, and I agree 100% because it's like, you know, watching the NBA championship, watching the home team wear the road uniforms, like football, same thing,
right,
you know.
sure.
And it's out of the ordinary because you're a home fan, you only see the whites or whatever the home uniform is, but it's the same with the DH. But, you know, I did talk to Mark McGuire, and he said, I hope they don't go to the National League DH because he's played both American and National, and he's gotten a chance to be a bench coach for Andy Green and to see what happens.
And that one is line fair, down the right field line. Robbie Lopez just went down and hooked it, and the Padres are going to grab the lead back at 2-1. I think he just went down and got it.
And that was an 0-2 pitch that he went down and got. And there's your off speed down, and he just, I mean, basically he hit it like it was thrown, as the old saying goes, and he went down and just hit it over Olson's head. And because it was down towards the corner, another double. And now you have the pitcher hitting. But, you know, there's the difference with the A's were hitting and the Padres, because the leadoff double, you had the pitcher coming up, but that meant you were going to have to put a runner on at first base in the 8th place hitter, and this pitcher would have been bunting, which he's probably going to do anyway. Maybe not, since there's a runner at second and one out. If there's a runner at first, he would be bunting to try to get him in scoring position. But that's the difference. But Mac was saying, he said when Andy Green got ejected, he said he went out for a double switch and he told the umpire, it's Joe West, it's Joe. It's the only 3rd time I've ever done this. I'm going to stay here until I get it right. Because
it's not that simple.
No, and as a double switch, as we've seen on National League, you go first to the umpire and say what you're going to be doing before you make the move.
And Bob also said, he said, yes, there's more strategy in a National League game.
Sure.
He said, but he said it's easier. Pitching changes are easier in the National League because sometimes your decision is made for you because you have to take the pitcher out because your team's behind and you got to run around and you need to use a pinch hitter. He said, where in the American League, your decision to take your pitcher out is based solely on how do you think he's doing. So
you're right.
And you know what? It's that great managerial mind that managers have where they think about things that, you know, he's been a manager, Matt Williams, he gets it. But all that makes perfect sense because,
well, you know,
it all kind of evens things out a little bit.
And we've seen it in this inning. You intentionally walk Jonathan Lucroy. The thing that I didn't like about that, and one of the new rules is just put up 4 fingers and you go. And there was a run at third base. You're taking that possibility of a pitcher making a wild pitch and allowing the run to score. And whereas here with the double, first base is open, you don't intentionally walk the 8th place hitter to get to the pitcher.
Yeah.
Because again, at that point, see, the thing that I've noticed is that in the National League, if there's a run at first base and 1 out, pitcher's automatically going to bunt to try to get him in scoring position and hope for 1 shot for the guy to drive him in. So there is a lot of strategy, whereas, like you said, in the American League, you got 9 hitters. And that makes a big difference for the pitcher facing the lineup.
2-2 pitch, a little bit outside, and he walked him. Actually, it was.
That's a 2.
No, it was 2-2. Flowers.
It's 2. That's just 2 and 2. It's now 3 and 2. He's bringing it back.
So Tom Hallion says, "Hold on, big fella."
Yeah, because he fouled the ball off with 2 strikes, and
see what happens when pitchers hit. See what happens.
They don't even know the count.
It's going to cost Mr. Lauer in Kangaroo Court.
That is Matt Stairs, one of the all-time greats. Saw him with the Phillies. Now with the Padres as their hitting coach. I hope he strikes out.
More reasons than one.
Exactly. Yeah, the number 1 reason to get the second out. Number 2 is to say you thought you had a walk and now you punch out.
Here's the 3-2, and it's a curve, and he missed high.
It's amazing.
I'm going to say it now, and you know what I'm going to say, because I say it every time we're playing in a National League park, and I am 100% convinced of this. When you don't retire the pitcher, it messes everything up.
Absolutely. Yeah,
We've seen enough games in the National League, Ray, where most of the time you retire the pitcher, but I'm telling you, when you don't, it gets weird.
Well, and then on top of that, it's the bottom third of the batting order.
Absolutely.
So now you include the pitcher, makes it even worse because I think pitcher facing pitcher is saying, I can't walk him. Well, he just did.
But then after the pitcher, then you get the top of the order.
Yeah, you turn it over.
And you get a frustrated pitcher because he allowed the other pitcher to get on base. Here's Jankowski, who rounded out to second in his first at bat. He bats here with 2 on and 1 out and a run in. Padres leading 2-1.
The thing that Blackburn is doing is throwing first pitch strike. He's getting ahead of the hitters, just not able to put them away. The breaking stuff is not working for him, and really the breaking ball is more of a line drive home run type pitch versus a good sinker. And you try to get the ground ball, which he is that type of a pitcher.
Lowry is playing even with the bag as you saw Jankowski squared a bunt. And this one's hit high in the air to center field. Canna into left center. And I think, too, you saw Jankowski show bunt there. And you're thinking, well, there's a runner on second. Why are you bunting? I think he was bunting or showing bunt to draw Lowry in because Jankowski slaps the ball to left field a lot. So he may have not been thinking I'm going to bunt, but he's thinking I'm going to show bunt and see if I can get Lowry to come in a couple steps because I hit a lot of balls that way.
Yep. And if you don't, the third baseman creep back, take a couple extra steps, maybe take a base hit away.
Yep.
That's a great point.
Well, here's Spangenberg. He walked and scored in the first. A's shift toward left center in the outfield. Nice block by Lucroy. So Blackburn at 42 pitches with 2 outs in the second inning.
Jonathan Lucroy knows the importance of the breaking ball. You got to block it, try to keep runners where they are, first and second. Only 1 in scoring position, and plus the 4 stays in play. So good block by Lucroy. A couple already in this game. Breaking ball is in the dirt by Blackburn.
That one's hit hard but foul. Skip Schumacher is the first base coach for the Padres.
McGuire were teammates at St. Louis.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Now they're teammates on a coaching staff.
Lopez at second, the pitcher Lauer at first. So a long first inning for Blackburn and a very long second inning. Big swing by Spangenberg. He's got 6 home runs on the year.
Both times that Spangenberg's been ahead of the count, he's had that massive swing, and both times, first time fouled it down the first baseline, this time fouled it straight back. Good idea choking up the way he does. Dick Roberts in the studio talking about the size of the bat that he used. The great Tony Gwynn, the size that he used, always a very light and short bat.
Olsen has it. He will hustle to the bag. And that will do it for the Padres. They get a run. So third inning coming up, 2-1 San Diego.
America's first hybrid minivan. Test drive one today.
That's the Gas Lamp District, very famous area here in San Diego, and it's the ballpark's in the Gas Lamp District. There's a nice big grassy hill way out past center field. It's just a big giant park, and man, people just hang out there and have a good time. They watch the game. Could be worse.
Oh. Where?
Could be worse. Man,
that's a
look
great
at that.
area.
Yeah.
That's nice. It's like spring training with the it's the berms, you know, and the spring training facilities. It used to be a beach right where the area down below there is. Used to have, we were here, what, 3 years ago?
I think they made the beach a little bit smaller.
Yeah, they said money. It got expensive, so they decided to make it a smaller beach area.
First pitch to Marcus Semien, right in their first strike. Padres leading 2-1. Rolled foul past Matt Williams.
See that ball going down the third base line. There is very little foul territory here. Petco Park down the left and right field line. There's more right field than left field, but just not a lot of room, and that's the difference. The Coliseum, where a foul ball can be caught here. I figure it's where I don't know, the ball girl who's sitting there is almost in play. So close to the foul line.
1-2 pitch, swing and a miss. 88 miles an hour, maybe a little up out of the strike zone. So second strikeout.
Yeah, did it to Pinder kind of the same way with the pitch up in the zone at 88, and not a particularly great pitch to throw, especially to be able to, well, they got the strikeout, but from the hitter standpoint, Lauer's almost like a crafty left-hander.
Yep. So his breakdown so far this year, but he got off to a really tough start, but he's starting to pitch well. He's just a youngster. In fact, he was the first-round draft pick of the Padres in 2016. That's only a couple years ago. So he had just 2 years in the minor leagues, and now he's pitching in the big leagues. Went to Kent State. Grew up in Ohio, so Padres obviously expect big things from him. And he's quickly in the big leagues.
Kent State south of Cleveland, you have to wonder, it's always surprising to me, someone from an area like south of Cleveland ends up being drafted by a San Diego team. You know, just the way the scouting system works. He's got a young man from Oklahoma, Kyler Murray.
That's right. Galvis shuffles to his right. His throw is in time. So Pinder is out. So here's Lowry. Well, Lauer had a 3-up, 3-down first inning, a very long second inning, and now he's trying to have a 3-up, 3-down third inning. And the first pitch is right on the inside corner, so that's a pretty good pitch to Lowry. And now he gets the call on the outside corner. So inside corner strike, outside corner strike.
That's called a crafty left-hander right there.
It's called having a good umpire.
That's right. Dots the corners.
Popped up. Galvis coming in. So Lauer is going to have a very easy top of the third inning. Bottom of the third coming up. It's 2-1 Padres. Nice.
all military by sharing a photo or video with hashtag HatsOffForHeroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
Beautiful look at Petco Park where the Padres leading the A's 2-1. Just a 2-game series. A day game tomorrow, and then the A's will head to Chicago. And it's going to be Hosmer, Perella, and Galvis.
We mentioned about Lauer having a quick, good inning, top to third. Same thing is necessary for Paul Blackburn because he has already thrown a lot of pitches. 47, just first pitch here in the third inning.
So what he desperately needs is a couple quick innings.
Absolutely. Yeah, to stay in a game because it's, like you said, let's see, it's got to be the fourth place hitter. So depending what happens to the A's, he may not hit the second time.
It's chopped over Blackburn's head. Pinder throws in time. Hosmer runs pretty well. But that's the first out here in the bottom of the third.
Cap, you're right about the National League parks and a pitcher. We saw it with Sean Manaea pitching in Los Angeles, and he was on a nice roll, but he got to 5 innings. His place came up. There was a game in which the A's needed to have a pinch hitter. He's out of the game. And he could have stayed in the American League park, but not in the National League. I heard a pitcher talk about having pitched in both the American and the National League, and he said how in the American League, all 9 hitters, but in the National League, it took a little bit easier whenever he got to 7, 8, 9 because he felt they weren't as good of hitters, and it kind of relaxed a little bit. Well, that's when you could get yourself in trouble, and it just does not work that way. You have to concentrate on all 9 regardless of where you're pitching or where you're playing.
Up the middle, Simeon gets a nice big hop. Near the bag at second, 2 outs. The A's are 3-2 in interleague play this year, and the Padres are 1-2.
Watch this play, Cap. Remember Marcus Simeon used to put the ball in his glove? Watch this. He takes it. He doesn't put it in his glove, and it was taking a little bit extra time. And that time, he just grabbed it, had the grip, threw it. And sometimes he would take a little bit extra time of putting the ball in his glove. But it's good to see him catch the ball, have a good enough grip that he can throw without having to put the ball in the glove and save time.
Oh, 0-1 to Freddie Galvis, who struck out to end the first inning. It's that one high and foul down the left field line. Curveball, and Galvis chased it. So there is a good inning for Paul Blackburn, his first easy inning. 4th inning coming up. in San Diego.
Yeah, when they had bark at the park as they do tonight, all those people out on that grassy area, they have all their dogs.
Sure.
And they're having a great time.
They are having fun. Well, like we said in our pregame show, Ray, if we could somehow figure out a trade to get San Diego in the American League West, that would be a good thing if we could figure out that deal. I don't know how we're going to do that.
Well, they're talking realignment to get maybe 32 teams, 8 4-team divisions, and maybe they could work it to where.
I think that would be fun.
That would be.
This would be a good stop. Don't know if the National League West will give up San Diego.
I doubt it.
1-2 to Chris Davis. Olson to follow in Canna. Chris Davis walked and scored in the second inning. The A's had a call overturned in the second inning that helped them get a run. Heads up move by Bob Melvin and Adam Roden in the video room. A little bit low. A's have just one hit so far. Strike 3 call. Right on the inside corner.
Well, fans, you have your chance to have your own bark at the park. Take your best furry friend out to the ballpark at the annual Bark at the Park event. It's presented by Avalderm Natural and Nalabo. And join us when the A's return to the Coliseum. Open up the homestand on Friday, June the 29th. That's at 7:05 against the Cleveland Indians. All dogs and owners are invited to a pregame party as well as pup parade on the field. A portion of the proceeds will benefit Dogs for Diabetics and BARF. Learn more at athletics.com/bark. Animal Rescue Foundation, Tony La Russa.
Yep.
I think they're having one the Sunday prior to that, so maybe I think it's before the A's and Giants play at San Francisco. So Tony said he's going to be out for that. I think it's July 21st when the A's will recognize the '89 World Championship team in the 50th anniversary season.
1-2 the count to Matt Olson, who reached on the fielder's choice E6 in the second inning. That was the call that was overturned at second base. Olson hit the ball and he was safe at first. But Davis was originally called out at second, but Galvis had his foot off the bag.
They saw Matt Olson attempt to bunt his first at bat that you're referencing because they were playing him to pull to just push the ball foul. But still not a bad idea, especially with everybody on the right side. One of the things we're seeing similarities there. Cosmer, of course, signing with the Padres, but you remember when he played with the Royals, he, Moustakas at third, Gordon on left, all three lefties played every day, regardless lefties or righties. And I think we're seeing that in Matt Olson. And of course, Matt Chapman, we hope to get him back soon. But if you can play as Hosmer did with Kansas City and now free agent signee, Gold Glove winner, shocked that some people said his defense had slacked. No, I said, wait, it's the best fielding first baseman we've seen.
It's pretty good. Jankowski and the shortstop Galvis, but it drops into the second row. So one of the reasons we like San Diego, check this out, Ray. I want to show our viewers how close our hotel is to the ballpark. The ballpark is the brick structure on the right. Our hotel is that tall structure on the left. They amazing. Are connected.
Matter of fact, Mickey Morbido says walk to the park because it's just over the ramp and you're right there.
That's right.
They actually have an entrance from the hotel to come into the ballpark where there's an attendant.
That's right. You could from the time you left your room to the time you got to our booth, it would probably take you 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun. You're right there.
I think one time we came in, we stayed at a Marriott or someplace down the street.
Yeah, always down.
A longer walk. I don't know if the Omni wasn't there at the time, but it is now, and it's very convenient.
Back-to-back strikeouts, Davis and Olson here in the top of the fourth.
Well, Matt Olson, a good battle. He fouled off 4 with a couple of strikes, but ultimately with a fastball in, could not make contact. And Lauer, who has had difficulties with even left-handers as far as walking them. Not the case with Olson, as he has retired since the walk to Lucroy, starting with Blackburn. He's retired 6 in a row.
Canna hits it foul, so Canna going after the first pitch. 6 in a row retired by Eric Lauer. Lauer won his last start. He beat the Cardinals in St. Louis. Pitched into the 6th inning. So if you're a young pitcher, if you can kind of pitch through your struggles and the team will let you stay in the rotation, that can do a lot of good.
Well, especially if you're drafted in 16 and you're in the big leagues in 18.
That's true.
Right? That's pretty special.
It helps a little bit that he was a college pitcher, but still, boy, that's.
Well, they say 4 to 6 for a high school player, 2 to 4 for a college player. Well, he hit the 2-year period because he's here. And if you're good, especially if you've had some college experience, you're going to get the big leagues sooner than later.
Canna drops one in, so Canna's 2 for 2. And here's Piscotty.
Good idea of the strike zone after striking out a couple in this inning. Trying to go up and in, but Canna, even though he did not hit it hard, got it over the head of Galvis at shortstop, and trying to do something with 2 outs in the 4th.
So Canna with both hits off Eric Lauer. You know, Ray, I'm just looking at Lauer's minor league seasons, and there's only been 2 of them. But in 2016, the year he was drafted, he only made 10 minor league starts. Last year, he made 21 minor league starts. Just over 100 innings last year. So the Padres must see him as an advanced pitcher, even though he was in college.
Well, maybe we should congratulate the coaching staff at Kent
State
University or Kent State, because
a good call. You're right.
Because you know, that helps if you're at a school and see Marcus Jensen talking to Emilio Pagano maybe just about what happens, because Lucroy's due up next and this inning continues with 2 outs.
Well, that's a great call. See, that's again, that's not something you would look at. It's not something that the manager has to think about unless you're in a National League park. Oh, it got Tom Hallion ran on the right shoulder.
Yeah.
So you got 2 outs and nobody on base, Ray, and all of a sudden you got a runner at first. Piscotty's your 7th place hitter.
Yeah.
Well, now you got to start thinking, well, I may have to pinch hit if the bases are loaded.
That's right. And Paul Blackburn is any pitcher coming in the National League, whether you're Clayton Kershaw or Paul Blackburn, it doesn't matter. If your spot comes up, you're trailing.
No swing. So the count 2-2, and I'm guessing here, but I think if the A's somehow got a run this inning before Blackburn came up, he would probably hit. Exactly. But if the bases were loaded and there were 2 outs, that's probably when he'd have to pinch hit for.
And that's why it's the tough decision for a manager in the National League because of that. And you know, if Blackburn had, don't have to worry about it.
One hopper, Perella to Galvis, and that will do it for the A's. They get a hit and have a runner left. Bottom of the 4th coming up. Padres 2, A's 1.
Sports Special, courtside at the NBA Finals. See it Tuesday, June 19th at 9 p.m. with an encore at 11. Only on HBO.
So we're at Petco Park in San Diego. Padres with a 2-1 lead over the A's as Pods come to bat here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Some good A's fans in that group. I got a wife and 2 kids there.
Yeah.
See our producer, Delaire Lewars, his wife Shannon, and their 2 boys. They're all sitting together.
Hey, there's Jack. You know, I told him his build of his cap is getting a little bit too round. He's got to flatten it out a little bit.
You know what he's disappointed about? He got a brand new Kelly Green Matt Chapman jersey, which he's been digging on for a long time. Grades were decent this year, so we got him that. And he was bummed that Matt Chapman's on the because now he said, I'm going to take it along on the trip. Matt Chapman's on the disabled list. Got to wear it anyways.
It's all right. Chappie will be back.
Chappie will be back.
I tell you, Matt Chapman is probably very smart for a young man. He wants to play every day. And, you know, there are times if you're injured, and he admitted, he said, I'm hurting the club. I can't play like I feel I should be playing. And you got to realize that as a player, that as much as you want to play the game, play through injuries, bottom line, if you're hurting the club, you're hurting yourself. You've got to shut it down. And I'm sure a lot of Padres people are looking forward to seeing him play, and then back in Chicago and Detroit. But let's hope he is back sooner than later. He's a great young player, had a great career.
Good breaking ball, and that is strikeout number 3 for Blackburn as he gets Reyes.
Now here's the breaking ball that he's trying to throw to Lauer, the pitcher, that just did not break sharply enough to get the strikeout. Instead, he gets Reyes on the strikeout, who doubled in his first at bat. Big Kaipe as we go to the top of the 5th inning. This inning for Paul Blackburn is important because, hypothetically, look where he gets a base hit. They may send him up to bunt, you know, but if he does it, may pinch hit for him. So, you know, this is where the managing really comes into play, because to your point earlier about American League, forget it. You know, he's going to stay in the game. Pitch count might force him to leave, but a little bit different than the National League.
That one is rolled foul. So 1-1 the count to Manny Margot.
You see the netting down the line to protect the fans, but also when Galvis went after a ball, looked like he tried to jump over the screen or jump into the screen, that kind of stopped him.
Popped up. Looks like Marcus Semien is where he needs to be, and he's got it. So 2 outs.
And this is a big at bat right now for Lopez and for Blackburn, who has again had a relatively quick first 2 outs, but it'd be nice to have the pitcher leading off the bottom of the 5th inning. As for Lopez, he's trying to get on so the pitcher can't hit in this inning.
Lopez had a big hit in this game, an RBI double in the 2nd inning, hooked one down the right field line. Hit toward the upper deck foul. So Blackburn looks like he's finding a little rhythm, right?
Yes, he is, and that's good because again, only his 3rd start since returning from the disabled list, and again, if you're pushed into a starting assignment in the big leagues versus another rehab assignment, trying to catch up, and it's all about repeating your delivery and throwing the good strikes, good breaking pitches. But I agree with you. Looks like he is getting a little bit more comfortable with his delivery and everything.
Strike called, off speed pitch on the outside corner. So 2-2. 7 in a row retired by Blackburn, and well, we said he needed a couple quick innings, and he's got a chance to have that. Breaking balls hitting better spots now too.
But it's got a nice little dip on it as it approaches the plate. Looks like it's going to be hittable, and all of a sudden disappears. And the manager right there is grinding it, trying to figure out what he's going to do. The fact that it's a 1-run game may keep him in.
And he got him swinging. A couple of strikeouts in the bottom of the 4th for Paul Blackburn. Refreshing finish. Yeah, it was refreshing. Jonathan Lucroy, the walk-off signal, was on Sunday. He's come back in the 9th, tied it, and then they win in an extra innings. Then they won the series against the Angels. That was a big deal. So Jonathan Lucroy took it like a champ. I'm still convinced, Ray, and we talked about it when we did the post-game interview, but you were on radio, but I think Marcus Semien hitting the first pitch that Parker threw in that inning, and obviously he hit it for a home run. It's great, makes it 5-4, but I think that messed Parker all up.
I agree. And you know,
he didn't look good after that.
No, he didn't. It ended up not. You know, and I think also when Mike Scioscia used 3 pitchers in that inning to try to get the win, and whereas the A's, Blake Trinan goes 2, still had Trevino, and that's where the back end of the A's bullpen is beneficial to a manager, because in the case of Trinan, even Trevino, you don't have to use 3 pitchers in 1 inning. You can just send them out there and get the job done.
Well, that's why if you can tie a game, obviously you want to win it, but if you can tie a game in the 9th inning against the other team's closer,
absolutely, and
the game goes into extra innings, you immediately have bullpen advantage because you probably haven't used your closer yet, and the other team has.
And the fact that Trinan was able to go out and pitch 2 innings and did a great job. Do we see Paul Blackburn in the on-deck circle?
That's him.
Good.
2-1 to Lucroy, who walked in the 2nd inning. It was an intentional walk.
Yeah, maybe he can walk for real this time and give Blackburn a chance to bunt, because that is, for American League pitchers, all they're trying to do. What he did in this first at bat with runners at 1st and 3rd, trying to get a base hit with 2 outs, didn't happen. And Lucroy, good job taking the 3-1. He's a National League player. He knows the importance of the 8th place hitter with a pitcher in the on-deck circle. Luke did say, though, he said that park in Oakland's too big. I couldn't get it out to right center. He said, that's all right. Take the single. And I agree with you. This is like the Marco Scutaro off Mariano Rivera down the line, hit the foul pole, and he crushed it first pitch way up high. And you're right, Cap. That just set Blake Parker said, what is going on? And he couldn't throw a strike after that.
3-2 pitch is a big chopper foul down the 3rd base line. So that was 7th home run of the year for Marcus Semien, and it was a big one.
And nice on his Father's Day. Damian was there watching him on Father's Day, and of course Marcus has his grandfather in the area, and Marcus and Tara, new parents, their 2nd child. Big day for him.
This one hit down the right field line, foul by Lucroy.
This is the fun part, Cap, right here, because you have a pitcher who knows the importance of trying to get this hitter out so he can face the pitcher without having to worry about him bunting. And Jonathan Lucroy knows the importance of getting on so he can hopefully be advanced and have his pitcher stay in a game with a sacrifice. It's really kind of the fun part of the National League.
Lucroy, that's going to get through for a base hit. Got jammed a little bit, but he got himself a hit. So here comes Blackburn with just one thing to do.
And this is the pitch, the 9th pitch, fastball inside, too close to take, 92 on the inside, and he fought it off and found the hole into left field. Now Blackburn doesn't even need to look at Matt Williams. He may not know the signs anyway.
Yeah,
he said, and look where the 3rd baseman, Spangenberg, is playing. Bunt it to 1st. Let the Gold Glover at 1st base try to handle it.
And it's picked up by Hosmer. He's going to throw to 2nd, and they're going to get the out there, and that's going to be a double play. So Hosmer, they know that Blackburn's going to be bunting, so they can be very, very aggressive, both the corner infielders, and Hosmer came charging in. So that's a nice play.
Well, and you're right, because Hosmer normally, when I say bunt to 1st base, he's late coming, but he came charging down. So essentially, you had the pitcher, 3rd, and 1st baseman in a triangle, and Hosmer got it a perfect throw to 2nd base, and there's a completion of a double play on what you'd hoped would be a bunt to get a runner in scoring position. Instead, it's a double play, and Hosmer handled that as well as anybody.
So now Semien hits with the bases empty and 2 outs.
And you know the difference in the American National, you see that happening. The pitcher pushes the bat back. Maybe he doesn't even bunt and gets them thinking about it, or swings.
Sure.
You know, fakes a bunt, pulls the bat back and swings. And there, all you're hoping is just put the ball in play. But again, that's one of the differences of American League pitchers hitting National League parks. Just like that.
So that indeed ended quickly after the leadoff single. Bottom of the 5th coming up. Padres lead 2-1.
Camp Railroads, Redwood Train, Beach Train. Whichever way you can't go wrong at Roaring Camp Railroads.
Padres 2, A's 1, bottom of the 5th inning. Probably it looks like it anyways. A lot of A's fans coming down to San Diego. You know, you could have
flights.
Yeah, quick flight. You get a night game and then turn around to day game tomorrow. You could be back home tomorrow night. Pinder, nice play in the backhand, and they get the pitcher, Eric Lauer.
It's a great play for Pinder because, first of all, there's the shock that the pitcher hit the ball like that. Looked like it's going to be a base hit, and back up the middle, and there's your outfielder. Strong arm by Chad Pinder. Really probably not a lot of time to stop and throw over the top, so he throws it across his body, and accurate throw to Matt Olson for the first out. One pitch, one out.
So here's Travis Jankowski, who takes a breaking ball that stays a little bit high. Jankowski, a good guy to stay off the bases because he's very fast and he is a base stealing threat. So Blackburn's been able to do that so far. Sharp breaking ball down and in. Padres are 34-40 coming into tonight's action. They're glad to be back home. They just finished up a road trip and they went 5-5, but they were in. Now I want you to first think about humidity. Okay? They were in Miami, and even though you're playing indoors, remember it was hot inside the Miami
very hot
stadium when it was closed. So they go to Miami, St. Louis, and Atlanta. And humidity wears you down.
They're long homestand, right?
That's true. We're going to get to that. Jankowski flips it foul, so they're glad to be back home. But their deal is their schedule. I mean, you just got to listen to this. So they just finished that 10-game trip, right? They are home for these 2 games against the A's. So 10-game trip, back home for 2. Jankowski bounces one. Simeon charges. He's got it. Throws low. Olson digs it out. So Matt Olson, very good at that. He digs it out. So 2 away.
Well, maybe this time Marcus, as we noted earlier, did put the ball in his glove, maybe to get a better grip, but still threw a sinker to Matt Olson. Matt Olson, a very, very good first baseman when it comes to handling the low throws, and did it perfectly. So go ahead with this schedule.
So 10-game trip, home for 2 against the A's. They go out on a 7-game trip tomorrow night. They come home for 3. They go back out on a 6-game trip. 23 out of 28 on the road. Blackburn can't handle it, and Spangenberg's going to be aboard. So it'll be a base hit. Blackburn dove for it, and he has to catch it in the air, because if he does not, then they're not going to get Spangenberg.
And of course, the spin, you think, well, why didn't they let it go? Because the spin actually looked like it was bouncing back a little bit, but also hit the glove of Blackburn as he followed through. Unfortunately, there was not a major collision between Lucroy and Blackburn. Sometimes when a bunt like that occurs, if it hits the ground, it will backspin and end up in foul territory. Nobody touches it. It is a foul ball, but Blackburn, a great effort. And I think Jonathan Lucroy asking Tom Hallion, did I go to the mound far enough that you're going to charge me
right.
with a mound visit? If you are, I'm going to go back out and give him some more time. Because that is a time when you have a pitcher exerting that much energy. And I always say, you think pitchers have great shape, they are, but just that little exertion can force them to hyperventilate a little bit too much. And you talk about those cities with humidity, those are the ones, if you're a pitcher, you want to walk to first base if you hit a ball. Because humidity will get you quicker than anything. They had to be, when Padres arrived on Sunday night here, after being in Atlanta, they had to say, wow, this is beautiful weather.
Outside, they will head to the Bay Area. They will play the Giants all weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They will do that after tomorrow's game. So the A's will head to Chicago, and the Padres head up north. One 1-0 to Eric Hosper, who has singled and he has grounded out. Close pitch.
I think both the A's and the Padres can thank Mickey Morbido, because the last time the A's were here, the Padres wanted to play a night game on the getaway. And Mickey said, you do that, neither club, both clubs leaving, he said neither club can fly out of downtown, because I think there's a curfew on.
There is some type of curfew.
As far as flying, and it would have been too late for the clubs to leave, so they ended up playing a day game, and both clubs able to, I think they were both going back to Bay Area, as a matter of fact. It was a 2-2, home and away.
Well, if you've never been to San Diego, the airport is very, very close to downtown.
Exactly.
I mean, when you land, if you're landing from the south, maybe a little bit, you really go right over downtown.
Right over downtown.
That is why there is some type of curfew.
Yeah, and I think it's a late one, or as far as flying out. If you play a 7 o'clock game, by the time the clubs get out, it's usually after midnight. That's probably with the curfew. But it was Mickey who convinced the Padres, and that's what the great team director, team travel personnel do. And Mickey, one of the best.
3-1 now to Hosmer with Perella on deck.
You get 2 quick outs, and it's time to get the third and get back in the dugout for Paul Blackburn.
So be careful here with Hosmer on 3-1. He had a mighty swing, and he skies one. Looks like it's going to reach the seats, and it just will.
You look at that swing on 3-1, where he looked like he's trying to hit a home run. Now 3-2, as was the case in the first inning. He went to left field, and Jonathan Lucroy telling the infielders, ground ball, go to first base, because Spangenberg is going to be on the move on the 3-2 pitch and not going to be held on by Matt Olson. That's the catcher just reminding the infielders, ground ball, don't even think about second, just go immediately to first.
So 3-2. Spangenberg is going to run. He takes off. Foul back. We saw Eric Hosmer make his major league debut in Kansas City. I don't remember the exact year, but we were there, remember?
6 years ago. 6 years ago, because he turned a 3-6-3 double play. I think it was Hideki Matsui hit a ball to him in the first inning.
Parents were there. Emilio Pagan is throwing out in the A's bullpen. Another 3-2 pitch and another foul ball.
Well, if Pagan, who's loosening up, of course, this could be the last batter if Hosmer happens to reach. And even though Blackburn hit last inning, there's where the double switch would come in, perhaps, because Pagan, who pitched extremely well on Sunday, one of the relievers who finished the game and pitched well to help the A's get the victory. That's a curveball. Don't hang it.
That one's hit toward Pinder. Pinder's got it, straightens up, throws, and that will do it for Eric Hosmer, and that will do it for the Padres. We're going to the 6th, still 2-1, San Diego. To 1. All the runs were scored in the first 2 innings, so things have settled down a little bit. See if the A's can get something rolling against Eric Lauer, who's been pretty good. A's with 3 hits. And the first pitch is swinging strike. Pinder a strikeout and a ground ball to short. 2 walks, 5 strikeouts for Lauer. Just foul.
Look out. Play the carom. Bumper pool. It's a dangerous area down right between the wickets.
Yeah, got to make that play.
Play the carom off the wall.
Now we're at 85 pitches. And Chad Pinder could not hold up. Pitch was well out of the strike zone.
Well, with Tom Hallion behind the plate, kind of reminded me of the late Dutch Renner, who just passed away at 88. One of the best known umpires, the National League umpires, and his strikeout call. Fans would say, I loved it when he was umpiring because I always knew what he called. He had the loudest strike call, probably as an umpire. So condolences to the Dutch Renner family, but Tom Hallion has that exaggerated call when he pumps his fist back. And Dutch Renner, who saw one of his calls when Mike Moore was pitching against the Giants in the World Series, and he made a strikeout call, and the hitter just stood back and said, "What are you doing?" He was so
What was that?
Dutch Renner.
Lowry has hit a fly ball to left, and he popped to short, and this one's popped up. Hosmer, Reyes, Perella, and it's the right fielder, Emil Reyes, who grabs it.
And it was a fair ball. It's on the first base umpire.
Castillo is the lefty. Simber is the righty. And with Eric Lauer at 90 pitches, the Padres getting their bullpen ready. Bullpens are way out in left center field, stacked. Padres are on the bottom bunk, and the A's are on the top bunk. First pitch strike to Chris Davis.
Did you notice that photograph of Dutch Renner that had the NL on his cap, National League? That was a time when there used to be both American and National League umpires and different style of umpiring. National League with the inside chest protector, which all umpires wear now, like Tom Hallion is wearing. Where the American League had the balloon chest protector and stood behind the catcher about 3 or 4 feet. So high ball umpire strike zone in the American League, low ball in the National League. And it's okay until you got in the World Series and they alternated.
Yeah.
And that's when the strike zone would vary.
Probably better the way it is now,
Absolutely.
where they're just umpires.
Everybody's the same. Yeah, everybody has the same style of umpiring. That's exactly right.
Chris Davis walked and scored in the second, struck out looking in the fourth.
And both pitchers definitely have settled down. Pitch counts are up a little bit high, but after the scoring in the first couple of innings, that's it for both teams.
Lauer works pretty quickly. And he got him swinging. 7 strikeouts in 6 innings for the rookie left-hander Eric Lauer.
Habit. Try our delicious sides, including the new Sriracha Lime Tempura Green Beans. Visit habitburger.com for a location near you.
The Padres leading 2-1, but here's the story. Ted Leitner, as he always says, my Padres. Ted Leitner, who had a little cancer scare, but pumping in the heart, thanked the fans for their support, their prayers, and Ted Leitner, his first game back. And Biff Roberts in our open, he said, tell Ted Leitner hello. I went over, you know what he said? Biff Roberts is one of only 2 players that ever came up to me and said, thank you for saying nice things about me. So,
awesome.
Biffster, Ted Leitner sends his regards, just as you to him, and he's back, and he's trying to make a comeback here tonight.
So Emilio Pagan takes over here in the bottom of the 6th inning. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your trusted oil change tune-up and smog experts. So he takes over for Paul Blackburn, facing Jose Perella. Hanger. Perella can't pull the trigger, and it's called a strike. So 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, a couple of walks, and 4 strikeouts. He threw 85 pitches, and of course his specialty is ground balls.
So 12 in his first start, 8 tonight, and we won't even count the second start that was against the Padres. But for Emilio Pagan, as mentioned, one of the very good pitchers on Sunday, he probably had one of the most important innings because he kept the Angels from adding on, which allowed the A's to come back and tie the game in the 9th, 1 in the 11th.
Big swing, and it's 2-2 the count. Galvis to follow, and then Reyes here in the bottom of the 6th. Sometimes you got to go back through your scorecard to find other heroes.
That's right.
And you usually find a couple in games like that. Just got a piece of that one.
Well, you can look back in the season. I think the A's, considering their lack of success against the Western Division teams, the teams they play the most of in the season, and you have a game like Sunday, that's one to really think about and try to continue tonight after having the off day yesterday to think about it. Starting a long road trip and a long stretch of games away from the Coliseum.
Pop-up foul.
I think from Pagan's standpoint, Kai, to have that type of game, remember he was sent down to AAA's, come back, and he admitted, he said I want to use my fastball more, something he had gotten away from. But for him to have the success he did on Sunday and to come back and perhaps have the same type of success tonight, which he hopes to have, to help the A's get back the dugout trailing by just the 1 run.
This one popped up. Well foul. Pretty nice crowd tonight for a Tuesday night here in San Diego. Padres averaging 25,191 per game. That's in the National League. That's 11th out of the 15 teams in the NL.
Dodgers still on top?
Dodgers on top.
Usually are.
But it's a pretty nice crowd. 3-2 pitch, and this one's headed into our booth. No, almost. Little action for our cameramen who are just right below us.
It's a nice area down below us here.
Would you sit here, Ray?
Oh, wow. Ooh, that's way up on top, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Those folks are at the top of the
Metal Supply
Western Metal.
That's where Bartolo Colon hit his home run.
That's right.
Right down the left field line.
Got him swinging. 3-2 off speed.
Fans, MLB at Bat is your #1 athletics app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get A's home screen icons and features such as the MLB TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcast stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today. It's a good app. Baseball right here is even better.
One out for Freddie Galvis.
A good breaking ball. 10 pitches.
Galvis a couple of strikeouts, both swinging. Those against Blackburn. So that Western Metal Supply Company building, Ray, is over 100 years old, and it's pretty cool if you think about it, because this was very industrial area before they built this ballpark, and obviously old buildings were knocked down. That's what happens. But that building, they said, "Nah, we're going to keep that one," and they built the ballpark around it.
Perfect.
And it's connected to the park. Look at that's the foul pole.
That's great.
And there's 3 levels of suites.
Yeah, that's a great.
It's very
great call.
cool. But it's like over 100 years old, that building, and it's part of the park. That one's hit well to right center. Could be trouble. Canna's back, and it's going to fall at the base of the wall. Galvis is going to end up at second base.
Well, the A's are hopeful and very happy that they're in this park where the ball, it's a long way out there to right center, because that's a home run. That ball is connected, and he just swung hard and missed 2. 95 down the middle. Bad location for this fastball. They were shading him more to left center, and even Canna, with his great catch that he made on Sunday, couldn't catch up to this one. Galvis is pretty, I mean, he could hit some home runs, but I think even he thought that maybe that was not going to make it out. He wanted to get at least a second.
So it's a 1-out double for Freddie Galvis. That's his 14th double of the year.
Cap, that just shows you right there. Throw a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and to your point earlier about out of the bullpen, Xfinity, a lot of 95-plus fastballs, but right down the middle.
Yeah.
2 strikes.
That's not going to work.
No, and that's why if you can make a pitch thrown at 90 and hit the corners with a little movement instead of 4-seam down the middle, it's going to be a big difference. Maybe it's a ground ball to second instead of a line drive that almost went out in right center.
How about 88 on the corner, right? I mean, seriously,
Exactly.
you're probably better off.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I mean, especially with the 2-strike approaches these days, that's not going to be an easy swing. You make a mistake, then a 95 center cut, no movement, is going to get hit hard.
So Franmil Reyes, who doubled and scored in the second, then struck out in the fourth. If Franmil Reyes looks big to you, just if you're watching at home, you're like, that guy looks big. He's 6'5", 275 pounds. From the
Yeah, I
Dominican
saw someone
Republic.
large around the batting cage. It's probably him.
He's a full man. Franmil Reyes. He's a rookie, and he's 22 years old. So he may get bigger.
Yes.
And stronger.
But especially 3 full meals in the clubhouse, he's definitely going to get bigger. They're eating well these days, so look out.
Two and two with Margot, another right-handed hitter waiting in the on-deck circle. There's the pitch. Swinging and a miss. Struck him out on a high fastball. So that's better location. A little up. All right, here's our Lowe's whole team together. We're talking about the A's bullpen, and we're into the bullpen now. Lowest bullpen ERA in the American League. The A's are now 4th behind the Astros, Yankees, and Red Sox.
That's impressive.
So that's pretty good. 3.45. They have sort of settled in now with Petit, Trevino, Trinan, kind of the 7, 8, 9 if the game is set up that way.
Yeah, that's a good bullpen, especially look at those teams. They're 1 of 5, and the other 4 either at the top or pushing.
Well, it'll help to get Buchter back as well. Then you got Danny Colomb is now down, so these do not have a left-hander now. Be nice to get them both back in the big leagues.
The broadcaster from Stockton said he saw Buchter down on a rehab. So that will be good to get him back. Tired of listening to us.
Probably is.
He said, I want to get back. And did I tell you, watching the Angels over the weekend, they put 4 on the disabled list in 1 day. Had a total of 15. So that's a challenge. And you know, every team has disabled list that's probably too long. He's right there with them.
1-1 to Margot. And that one could have been called a strike, but it was not.
Galvis at second base just inching off farther and farther. And man, it's with 2 outs, you have to hold your possession at second and short. And you know, if he's going to steal third, don't even throw. But he knows he can get a big lead. And Pinder just trying to give him a courtesy look at second base, but he's going to hustle back to his position.
This one foul. Here's the A's banged up list. A little longer than we'd like.
Yeah,
first, we know the situation with Chapman. Joyce is getting close. We may see him in Chicago. But Boog Powell's been out since very early in the season. Anderson, Buchter, Cahill, Cotton, Gossett, Triggs, on and on and on. So
you look
that's
at it,
a long list.
Yeah, 6 pitchers starting with Brett Anderson all the way down to Triggs. And, of course, the top 3 position players. But the 10-day DL is good. Let's hope that's all it's going to take for Matt Chapman to get back.
2-2 to Manuel Margot, and he swings and misses. So how about that? 3 strikeouts sandwiched around a double, and we are moving to the 7th. Still 2-1 San Diego. Well, this Friday, the park is gone. Don't miss the movie event of the summer when Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom hits theaters. Speaking of hits, late great Tony Gwynn, that statue is way out in that park that we talked about, out in center field, beyond the backdrop in center field, the Tony Gwynn statue. And he was indeed Mr. Padre.
Oh, wasn't he?
So when it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your trusted oil change, tune-up, and smog expert. So the new pitcher is a lefty, and his name is Jose Castillo. So another youngster for the Padres, and they got a bunch of them. Castillo is just 22 years old, from Venezuela.
He's an aired out with a fastball and a slider. As Ryan Christensen looking at the lineup. And you know the problem, Cape, when you have as many pitchers as clubs carry, you get to National Park. You're limited in what you can do pinch hitting.
A little bit.
Yeah. Because
you don't have as many bench players.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. The A's have 4. So it looks like this is a double switch. Yeah, because Matt Caesar is now in left field, and Jankowski moves to right field. Reyes is out, and Reyes was the second to the last batter in the 6th inning. So that means Matt Caesar is now hitting in the 9th spot.
Can I have
Caesar,
a vowel?
right-handed hitter. Scrabble? No, that's Zebczynski, who just signed with the Indians. Scrabble. So we'll do our best to keep you up on the double switch. 3-1 pitch is lined to center. It's going to get down for a hit. All right, let's check out the Tony Gwynn highlights, and you could go on and on for hours with Tony Gwynn highlights. But you know what amazed me when you watch Tony Gwynn hit, Ray? If you threw it down and away, he'd line it to left field.
Right.
If you threw it down the middle, he would line it to center. If you threw it down and in, he'd hit it down the right field line.
Let's see the patented, say 3,000 hits, Mr. Padre.
He was awesome. Tony Gwynn, he
Lots
was
to talk
the man
about.
for a long time.
California is brought to you by the Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid, America's first hybrid minivan. Test drive one today.
So Padres with a 2-1 lead, but the A's had their leadoff runner on here in the 7th inning. So back to the bullpen, Craig Stammen. A right-hander comes in to face Mark Canha.
Well, Castillo did a good job. 4 pitches, 5 pitches, and a 3-1 fastball to lefty Matt Olson, base hit.
So here is Canha. First pitch, just a touch low from Stammen.
Stammen a little bit different than Castillo. Castillo more of just a fastball slider. Stammen does not throw as hard, but throws a sinker along with the regular fastball, curveball, and slider. Castillo is one of those Xfinity guys, but Stammen not so much.
So there's the switch. Matt Caesar's in left field, Janikowski in right. So again, Reyes, the right fielder, is out of the game. Hit hard but foul. That pitch was up and Canha went after it. Good aggressive swing by Mark Canha. So 2-1 the count. Piscotty will be next. Eric Lauer went 6 good innings, had 7 strikeouts, gave up just the 1 run. So a little more about Tony Gwynn. Look at that resume. 8 National League batting titles. Finished with 3,141 career hits. Very good outfielder.
And you know, one of those sneaky power guys too.
Yeah, if he had to.
See the 23-78 singles, the patented hole between third and short that he just ate alive with a lot of singles going that direction. Just like you said, the pitch away, he'd just take it that way. Used a very short bat. Bipster, Bip Roberts talking about him. But you know the thing that I remember, we have actually Matt Williams coaching third. He was on pace, and they talk about pace, to hit 60 home runs in '94. Tony Gwynn was on pace to hit 400 in 1994, and the unfortunate strike at the end of the season. But, you know, Matt, being the gentleman that he is, would never talk about it. But there are a lot of people talking about that season and what could have been if they had played it out.
Oh, you could say that about a whole bunch of things in that season.
Yeah, like the city of Montreal.
Yeah. Right. Expos had a sensational team, and 10 years later they moved to Washington. What if they would have? What if the Expos win the World Series?
Yeah.
And they had a good team.
They had it, and they just, from all indications, they were just so upset. They said, "Forget it, we're done," and they unloaded a tremendous number of great players. So here you have bottom third of the batting order. Does Piscotty attempt to bunt? Of course, you can pinch it. Luke Croy on deck, but then who knows what the manager has got planned right now.
So 2 on and nobody out for Piscotty. And that pitch, a strike. Outer half.
It's interesting. Hosmer's not even thinking bunt. He's faced the A's. There's Petit and Casilla.
Piscotty slightly open stance. He's 0 for 2. Lays off that one outside. Now Stamen's ready. 1-1 the count. Swing and a miss. Stamen had some good years with the Washington Nationals. Very good years.
Well, he's trying to do it here. This pitch, two-seam fastball. That 93, that's a nasty pitch starting outside, breaking over the outside corner. And you're right, Kipe. He had some very good years there.
Second year with the Padres. Piscotty chases the pitch way out of the strike zone. So a big strikeout for Stamen. Well, the A's have struck out 8 times tonight.
Well, that's one that's so far out of the strike zone. Piscotty's going to look at it and they go, what am I doing? And, you know, you commit and just reach and realize where the pitch is. And Lopez a good job blocking the ball that was way out of the strike zone.
So 1 away, and here's Lucroy. A's need a big hit. Lucroy has walked and he has singled. Olson and Canna are the base runners, and that pitch bounced out in front. Lopez blocks it. That's Dustin Fowler, who has come out into the on-deck circle. And that is the pitcher spot. Lucroy has been good in these situations. Always seems to give you a pretty good at bat. Missed again. 2-0.
The interesting thing in watching Jonathan Lucroy is just how he takes pitches, and it's almost like, okay, it's outside, I'll just take it, not even offer at it. And that makes it tough on a pitcher and catcher to try to pitch somebody that has that good of an eye. It's almost like you just want to say, here it is, hit it.
Swung over top that pitch.
Stamen right after him on the 2-0, but again, the two-seamer, that is that's a turbo sinker. It's not thrown as hard as Blake Trinan throws, but still a lot of movement. That's to your point earlier about that 88 to 90 mile-an-hour fastball. You got that kind of a movement. If you do make contact, it's going to be hit on the ground.
So now 3-1. So Lucroy will be ready to hit. He scored their lone run in the second inning, and it scored on a double play. Stamen, 61% is his percentage on stranding inherited runners, a little below the league average. Check of Olsen, and the pitch. And Lucroy fouls it, and he swung at ball 4, and he knew it.
Yep. Well, he's asking Tom Hallion, but you know that's the old. He knows the sinker, but you're right. It's one that fortunately fouled it. But if a hitter makes contact, as often as Lucroy does, you send the base runners, because a ground ball pitcher, contact hitter, want to stay out of a double play. See what the skipper does with Olsen and Cannon.
Runner's not going. Hit well to right field. Jankowski going back. Jankowski, warning track, makes the catch. Olsen has to hustle back.
And that might have been one of the reasons for the change in the outfield defense right there. That maybe Reyes does not make this play. Jonathan Lucroy goes opposite field. That ball really carried well, but Jankowski, no fear of the wall, got to the warning track. He saw where he was and able to reach up, and knowing that once he caught the ball, had several steps before he even came close to the wall. But good effort by Jonathan Lucroy, and well, all the more reason the hitter before you get any kind of situation where you can advance the runner into scoring position, a runner at third less than 2 outs, that fly ball is going to score him.
So here's Fowler, the pinch hitter. Fowler takes a little off the plate.
You know, the guy who's missed right now is Matt Joyce.
Sure.
Joyce, of
Absolutely.
course, an outstanding pitch hitter, but if he didn't start, he could come off the bench, and he talked about how much he improved as a hitter because of his days in Pittsburgh as a pinch hitter.
He'd probably be hitting right now.
Exactly. And you know, for Fowler, when he pinched hit on Saturday and against the Angels, tough situation for a young player that you're accustomed to playing every day and getting 3 to 4 at bats, maybe 5. So it's a little bit different for a young player right now. 2-0, mound visit, and Lopez said, "I don't care. I need to talk to my pitcher."
More action now in the Padres bullpen. See, that's Simber and Yates. Trust me, that's who it is. Wouldn't lie to you. Adam Simber.
He's ready.
Kirby Yates. Get a little Ryan Dull going. Eh? 2-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. Fowler a little aggressive. Chased the ball.
Well, if it's any kind of a sinker, it's had to be a slider in the dirt. And he knew by shaking his head that it was a pitch out of the strike zone. So pretty impressive to throw the slider in a fastball count. Got the swing and an aggressive hitter.
Runners ready to roll on the crack of the bat with 2 outs. Fowler taps it foul, rolls toward the far end of the Padres dugout. So 2-2. Stamen working hard in this inning. He's thrown 20 pitches. Olsen is your tying run. Fowler skies one towards center. Margot is over there. Margot waits, and he's got it. So it's a promising inning, but the A's get nothing out of it. 7th inning stretch time coming up.
Designed for the grind that comes through every time. See your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places. By Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. By Xfinity. X1 will change the way you experience TV. By SoFi, a modern finance company. And by Cresco, your #1 choice for tool and equipment rental with 19 stores to serve you in Northern California.
Hey, Xfinity X1 customers say, show me the Oakland A's in your X1 voice remote and get live stats on your TV. Change the way you experience TV with Xfinity X1. So it is the bottom of the 7th inning from Petco Park. Bottom of the 7th, a 2-1 lead for San Diego, and it's going to be Santiago Casilla. When it's time for change, think speedy, oil change, and auto service. Your trusted oil change tune-up and smog experts. So Pagan throws 1 inning, gives up a hit with 3 strikeouts, and now it's Casilla who will face Lopez, Caesar, and Jankowski.
For the A's to have any kind of a chance to come back in this game, they need the bullpen to come through with the ERA. They showed earlier that 3.45 ERA.
And the Padres have a good closer, Brad Hand. He's a lefty and he's nasty.
Matter of fact, if that does happen, well, tonight you have the American League reliever of the month and the National League reliever of the month, both
good
in the house. And Trinan for the A's and Hand for the Padres. I think the A's would love to see Trinan and not so much Hand.
0-2 to Lopez. That one hit hard but foul. The Astros finally lost. The Rays beat the Astros tonight 2-1 in Houston. So the Astros' 12-game winning streak comes to an end.
Should have ended last night because they had a comeback. It was it Reddick hitting the home run?
Bregman.
Oh, Bregman.
Yep.
Bregman.
Yeah, the Rays got a run in the top of the 8th and hung on 2-1. That one is a strike right on the outside corner. Good pitch by Casilla.
Tom Hallion, that's what we're waiting for. Lopez, but watch Tom Hallion. This is the best part. There's a good sing. Yeah, I gotcha. Hunter, Dutch Leonard, he doesn't scream, he just does the call. That's Tom Hallion. That's the best. His strike 3 calls. Call the strike 3.
Here's Matt Caesar, who came in the double switch. Caesar, a right-handed hitter. Yankees beat the Mariners tonight in New York. 7-2 was the final. Herman over Gonzalez. So both the Astros and the Mariners lose. And the Angels are leading the Diamondbacks 5-2 in the top of the 7th inning at the Big A. What, maybe an hour and a half north of here?
That's about it.
So we'll keep an eye on that one as that heads to the later innings.
When you think back, and it's not been that long ago, 1958, there was not a team east of the Mississippi.
It's amazing.
You think about it now.
Who was it? The Cardinals were the furthest, right?
Were the furthest. All the train rides.
Bouncer to the right side. Pinder charges. And Pinder said, I don't want to get a bad hop. I'm going to charge this one. And he did. 2 outs.
Well, Mark McGuire is saying that he used to, when he was the Cardinals coach, his locker mate was the late Red Shandy, who just passed away. And he said it was so much fun to come to the clubhouse and sit down and have Red Shandy's talk about Stan Musial and all the great things they did and how great the players were. And unfortunately, the redhead passed away at 95 not too long ago. And in fact, they just honored him at Busch Stadium just recently.
Swing and a miss. Yeah, Mark McGuire. He looks good, doesn't he?
He looks great. Got triplets. Matthew, his son, of course, the most notable when he hit the home run, picked up Matthew. He left, Mac did, in 1987 when he was sitting on 49 home runs in Chicago. And left to go home to the birth of his first child, Matthew. And he's reminiscing tonight. He said, told Larissa, says, "What are you doing?" He said, "Listen, I'll hit 50 home runs, but I only have a child, the first child, once."
Good for him.
And he left. Matthew is 30 years young, and Mac has triplets. And he said, can I believe this? He lives 85 miles from here. He drives it every day.
Good for him.
Yeah.
He's a gamer.
He's a gamer. He goes home, spends at home. He said he'll stay tonight but play tomorrow, and then he'll drive home and then head up north.
Big Mac, hitting coach with the Dodgers for 3 years, and now with the Padres.
St. Louis, and then the Dodgers, and now the Padres as a bench coach. And you know, I asked him, you know, because usually, you know, we saw Dino Ebo leave third base to go to the bench because he figured that was the next step to being a manager. And I asked Mac, is he going to manage? Because I think he'd make a good manager. And he said, man, they have to do a lot. He said the best part of the game is being on the field, you know, during the game. But there's so much that goes on off the field, and he is seeing what Andy Green has had to go through. And so we shall see. But a good baseball man. And there's Andy Green. He said, as Mac said, he might be the smartest manager he's ever seen. He said he never writes anything down, but never get anything by him. So quite a compliment by Big Mac.
You know, looking at McGuire's seasons, of course, the rookie season is the one that stands out because he had 49 home runs. But just how about 1996, Ray? In 1996, he hit .312 with 52 home runs and 113 RBIs. Now, that was not a very good A's team, but he had a terrific season.
In 96, you go back to 91. There's Mac at 363, and thankfully able to see every one of them. Reggie Jackson, of course, Canseco, Chavez. Matt Stairs is coaching, hitting coach now for the Padres, is on number 11th, 122. But Mac at number 25, Stephen Piscotty wearing the number 25. He idolized McGuire as he was growing up and watching the A's teams.
Jankowski with a walk. Not the guy you want to walk.
The A's 50th anniversary season-long celebration continues Saturday, June the 30th at 1:05 p.m. The Indians will pay their only visit for the regular season Coliseum. 15,000 fans on that Saturday will receive a Dave Stewart starting lineup action figurines presented by Ashby Lumber and Humboldt Redwood Company, complete with the trademark Death Stare, Dave Stewart. Be sure to get your tickets for this special day. Honoring Stu at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets. I mean, it was a stare, but it was a stare that you didn't want to look at. A stare that you never knew what Stu was thinking. And he's thinking probably, like you said right now, that Jankowski might be running.
Not going there. The first pitch is low. Jankowski has 11 steals. He's been thrown out 3 times.
Saw Lucroy come out quickly, and of course he is looking in the dugout for the throw-overs and pitch-outs, etc. But he's also saying to somebody in the dugout, let me know, because peripherally you cannot see the runner at first base as a catcher with a left-handed hitter. Right-hander, you can see out of the corner of your eye if he's taking off, and you can prepare yourself. But lefty, you're depending on somebody in the dugout.
There he goes. Quick release by Lucroy, but not in time. So Spangenberg took the pitch. Jankowski steals it. And now an insurance run is in scoring position.
And certain base stealers, you prepare yourself every pitch to do exactly what Lucroy does here. He's ready to throw and just getting it down there as quickly as possible. And Marcus Semien got the hard slide and the headbutt into the hand as he went down. Got it on his shoulder and felt it a little bit.
So 2-0 the count to Spangenberg. Hosmer is standing in the on-deck circle. And that one's a strike. Inside corner. Spangenberg bailing out a little bit.
Yeah, Lucroy was trying to get to see his attention, because a runner at second base changes everything. You go from one sign to multiple signs, and this is where every pitcher you'd like to have be a little bit consistent with a runner at second base, the type of signs you're going to use. whatever second, third, fourth, whatever it might be, but almost becomes a verbal or a sign signal from the catcher to the pitcher to let him know what you're going to call.
Canna shifted toward left center. Big gap in right center. Spangenberg has walked and scored, grounded out, and he has singled. So he's been on base a couple of times. Swings over top, and Casilla gets out of it. So Jankowski stranded at second. We are headed to the 8th. 2-1 San Diego.
Baseball's best tradition. Free July 3rd fireworks after our 6:05 game against the Padres is brought to you by Chevrolets. Grab your phone or grab a marker and write this down on the back of your hand. Athletics.com/boom. That's right, boom. In honor of the Bay's best fireworks. See you at the ballpark. They are good. The patriotic fireworks on that July 3rd against these Padres will be at the Coliseum.
Gamer.
They're so good.
He's ready. Whose jerseys he got? Oh, you got a Coco jersey. Always a popular jersey still.
Yeah. He's upset because he didn't get a ball.
Yeah.
He's got that look.
He's running out of time, too. It's late. Here's Kirby Yates. Good year. 3-0, 0.96 ERA. So Kirby Yates. And the first pitch to Marcus Semien is high. So Yates, the setup man for the Padres. Yates is 31 years old. Inside, and now it's 2-0. Yates has been with Tampa Bay, and he's been with the Yankees. Last year, the Padres, and then the Angels, and now this year back to the Padres. Claimed off of waivers. And now it's 3-0. Well, the A's had their leadoff man on in the 5th inning, didn't do anything with it. They had their first 2 runners on in the 7th inning and didn't do anything with it. Got to break through at some point.
Yes, indeed.
And a 4-pitch walk to open up the 8th inning.
Smart Play of the Day brought to you by your California Ford dealers with Paul Blackburn. We're going to give it to him because he goes 23 in the first, 23 in the second. Then he settled on. You go 5 innings, giving up just a couple of runs. Did a very good job. His curveball started breaking sharply. As you see those 2 pitches there. The backdoor backups curveball, but I tell you, he did well. Paul Blackburn did. So 3rd start for Paul Blackburn. Good to see him especially to be able to settle down and not implode after having those 2 long first innings.
Here's Pinder. First pitch to Pinder. That one is a strike. So Yates finds the strike zone for the first time.
Yates basically 2 and 4 seam fastball, slider. He also throws a split finger fastball, which is in today's game not as used as much as it had been in the past.
Fastball running in, and Pinder tried to hold up, couldn't do it. Foul ball, 0-2. Pinder's 0 for 3, couple of strikeouts and a ground out. Lou Trevino is up in the A's bullpen.
I think the A's would love to see a Bartolo Colon type home run down the left field line into the Western Metal Supply Company building.
Simeon, good lead, 0-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Tough night for Chad Pinder as he strikes out for the 3rd time, all swinging. So 1 away. Day game tomorrow. The game will be seen on the MLB Network, and it'll be heard on 95.7 The Game with Ken, Vince, and Ray. Frankie Montas is the starter for the A's, and a change for the Padres. Joey Lucchesi is going to come off the disabled list. He's a young left-hander. And he is going to pitch for the Padres. Yeah, another youngster, you're right. So that will be the pitching matchup tomorrow. And that is a 12:40 scheduled first pitch. Lowry to center, he's retired. And it's up to Chris Davis. See if the big fella can get a hold of one. Good time to do it.
It would be great. A's could take the lead with a 2-run home run. They'd hit their 20th home run, 20th consecutive game on the road.
That's right.
There's a lot of things going on here.
19, right?
Yeah.
19 straight
19
road games the A's have homered.
This is not your smallest of parks, but just saw Freddie Galvis crush one to right center that stayed in the yard.
Well, this park opened in 2004, and for a long time it was kind of Death Valley.
Yep.
I mean, hitters would lose their mind here, but in 2013 the Padres moved the fences in quite a bit, 10 to 12 feet in some places, so it's a little bit more hitter friendly now, but still a tough place to hit. Remember Phil Nevin and Ryan Klesko when they were with the Padres when this park opened, and they just lost their mind. Very close as Simeon just got back. Padres are looking at the phone.
Yeah, Simeon, you know, for some reason he reacted late on it, and I don't know if he was going or what, but they decided to not take a look at it, or at least challenge it.
Quick throw again. A little bit closer.
He may be running the way he's kind of edging off the bag. Of course, with Chris Davis at the plate, you wouldn't think he would be, as he's in scoring position at first.
Inside. So 1-1 to Davis, who has reached on an error and scored, or excuse me, he walked and scored, and then a couple of strikeouts. 4th in the league in home runs behind Trout, Martinez, and Ramirez. Can't imagine a better time for number 21.
If they give him a pitch to hit.
Well, no surprise that Brad Hand, the lefty and the closer, is up. And
that's
if
right.
Chris
Olsen?
Davis were to get aboard and Olson's the next hitter, I bet we would see Hand.
I think you're right. Yeah, he's ready. So it'd be best if Chris Davis just hit one out.
That's true.
Didn't have to worry about bringing hand in to face Matt Olson, who probably would enjoy the challenge if that is the case.
So 3-1. Another quick throw. So a tight ball game tonight. Padres got one in the first, one in the second. The A's got their lone run in the second. All 0 since then. 9 total hits in the game. And that's a strike inside corner. Let's see. What did it look like? Pitcher strike.
Well, a gapper scores a tying run. Home run gives the A's a lead.
Simeon goes. 3-2 pitch is driven to right center. Jankowski at the wall. Got it.
Big park.
So Chris Davis gave it a ride. Just comes up a little short in deep right center field. And that's how the top of the 8th comes to an end. So it remains a 2-1 Padres lead.
Authority of the Oakland Athletics. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Athletics Investment Group, LLC.
All right, game summary brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Not a lot of offense tonight. The A's 1 run on 4 hits. The Padres 2 runs on 5 hits. Good news, Paul Blackburn pitched much better tonight. Of course, he had that rough outing in his last start, but he bounces back. Mark Canha's got a couple of hits. Eric Lahr, the rookie left-hander, was good. Gave up 1 unearned run. So when it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your trusted oil change tune-up and smog experts. It's Lou Trevino. He'll face the middle of this Padres lineup. Hosmer, Perella, and Galvis.
Padres looking for an insurance run. The A's try to prevent it from happening because Chris Davis almost gave the A's the lead. Hosmer tried to get a...
Well, that foul ball hit Tom Hallion good. Padres training staff will trot out, as will the fellow umpires for Tom Hallion.
Big swing by Hosmer and just over the top of the glove, and yeah, that not only flipped his helmet, his mask.
Oh,
it got him in the shoulder pad as well. So yeah, that's a nasty shot. fine.
I don't know what that feels like. You do know what that feels like.
It's not a good feeling.
And it hit his shoulder first. I thought it hit his mask
I did
first.
too.
I
It
don't
hit
know
his
that
shoulder,
makes
which
it
means it
better.
got him on the side of the face.
But it has to be an incredibly bad feeling where you just
it is.
where you get sick. You know those things where you get sick to your stomach for like 30 seconds?
I remember one distinctly, and I may have said it before, but it bears repeating. I got hit so hard that I was on my knees at Fenway Park. The first baseman came down and said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "I'm fine." And he said, "Then why are your eyes rotating like a slot machine?" You know, but there was no concussion protocol. I probably would have missed several games.
Probably,
but it's a direct hit, and that one that he got on the shoulder, and then the way it came up and hit him, that had to flip his mask. It had to get him the side of the head, side of the face. So some umpires do wear the hockey-style mask, but Tom Hallion does not. But it's good to see a smile on his face, and nice to see the other three umpires, as he is a crew chief, to come in and see how the boss is. But man.
This one tapped slowly, and it's going to be an out. But you think about it, Ray, the umpires, I mean, they're a family, obviously, but those four guys are together a lot. And they take care of each other.
Chris Davis almost gave the A's the lead, almost tied the game, but Jankowski, and I think, Kipe, we have seen Jonathan Lucroy hit a ball in this one. This looked like it was at least going to go to the gap, maybe score the tying run. But Jankowski, with tremendous speed, no fear of the wall, got the warning track, braced himself after he caught the ball, and held on. And that's the difference in the game right now, and maybe even Lucroy's ball.
Nice play by Lowry, ranging to his left, and he throws out Perella. So Jed Lowry, the hot corner. You don't have a lot of time to react. And he took a couple steps to his left.
To his left, put the glove down, got it at that point, said, "Thank you very much, I got it." Not a problem with the throw. It's a good scoop by Lowry. Jed also about the four umpires being together. And his 100th for Jed at third base, third career, and give him a lot of credit for telling the skipper when Matt Chapman went out, he said, "I'll take over at third base," and he's been there ever since. And that was a credit to Jed to do that. But I'm thinking about the home plate umpire. A catcher is out there for 9 innings. Essentially, an umpire is there for 18.
Yeah, that's right.
Because this double, he doesn't leave to go in and sit down for the other half inning.
Nope.
So there you can figure in the course of a game, I mean, you're probably looking at 300 pitches combined with the two teams thrown at you.
Yep.
And you just hope and pray one's not fouled like that one was. And it's probably more amazing that they haven't been hurt more.
And, physically, obviously, a catcher is, going into the squat, bending his knees. But, I mean, an umpire has to bend down a little bit as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you do that 300 times.
Exactly.
Which Tom Hallion, he's bending, but do it 300 times.
That's right. And people
see
say,
how you feel.
He's got 3 days off. He's on the bases, but still, I mean, there's responsibilities there. You
Yeah.
almost need it. It's almost like playing a football game where you need the full week to recuperate from the Sunday to the next Sunday. And I give these guys credit, and they deserve the vacation time they get.
Yep. Galvis fouls it into the upper deck.
I always say that in the case of tonight, we have not gotten attendance yet, but there's not anybody in here other than the pass list of the umpires that are rooting for them. It's all about the home team, the visiting team, and, the men in blue. It's a thankless job because they're criticized more than they're probably appreciated.
1-2 pitch, just a little bit outside as Trevino ran that one off the plate.
Now Lou's got that great sinking fastball and almost got Galvis to commit. He did not. Good call by the third base umpire, Dan Bellino.
And he threw that one right by Galvis. Good inning for Trevino. Last shot for the A's. And the lefty Brad Hand is coming in.
That's against these Padres. All participants that purchase a special ticket for this event will receive an A's co-branded patriotic cap. Or if you bring out a group of 15, you get this hat for free, and that is a nice hat. It's a special bonus day after the game for post-game fireworks and watch from the field. Visit athletics.com/military for more details. That is a special patriotic day and a great holiday, the 4th of July, America's birthday, and the A's trying to get a birthday gift from Mr. Hand here as he starts the 9th inning.
Brad Hand. Check out these numbers. 21 saves. That's the most in the National League, third most in baseball. He has 53 strikeouts in 36 innings.
And just 14 walks. That's impressive. Fastball, slider.
His slider rate is nasty.
Yeah.
He throws his slider 51% of the time. So, I mean, he just pumps it in there, and it is a nasty pitch. So 21 saves ahead of Wade Davis, who's got 20. So Brad Hand, he's 28 years old. Took over the closer's duties last year in July when the Padres made some trades, and Hand was ready for the job. And there it is, and that's a strike. He'll just keep throwing it.
And I agree with you. Had Chris Davis gotten on base, Hand was going to come in to face Olsen. So now a two-strike approach, see if he can go opposite field. And today he's gotten a chance to face a lot of lefties, a lot of good lefties, has Matt Olsen.
One-two pitch. Tapped right side. Taken care of. That was
time now for the Chrysler drive of the game, and unfortunately for the A's, many innings ago they had this happen on an off-speed pitch. In that second inning, it was Lopez getting a double down the right field line that would score Reyes, and that was the second run of the game, and that is the difference in the game right now. And that was the unfortunate thing for Paul Blackburn. That was in the second inning. The inning in which he threw 23 and struggled as he did in the first, but no scoring for either club since then.
Here's Canna. First pitch is a fastball low at 94 miles an hour. Angels still leading the Diamondbacks 5-2 in the bottom of the 8th inning. Astros and the Mariners have both lost tonight. Have not said that very often in the last 3 weeks. Slider for a strike, 83 miles an hour.
Not as confident as Mark Canha is. He had a perfect night, a couple of hits and a walk. He might be the type of hitter that at least would keep this inning going and get on base.
Right there for a strike. That's the pitch you want to hit.
Yeah, because if you don't swing at it, you're going to probably get something other than the heater, which was his fastball at 94, lower part of the strike zone.
One and two to Canha. Canha's got 2 singles and a walk. He's been on base all 3 times. And that one just missed. He went with a fastball again. I wouldn't take it again.
I would not take it.
No. Piscotty is the on-deck hitter. He's need a long ball. And there it is. So that is the 10th strikeout for Padre pitchers tonight.
Well, there's the breaking ball after. He missed with a fastball, or at least it wasn't called.
Well, that's what makes it tough against a guy like this, Ray, because you really need to hit his fastball.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you need to guess, and then
That's right.
in Canha's case, he got a couple fastballs, and even though one of them was called a ball, it's still probably the pitch you'd want to swing at as opposed to that slider. So here's Piscotty. Piscotty out in front.
Didn't start him with a fastball that Piscotty was looking for. Probably some history here, playing in the National League for both of them. Piscotty with the Cardinals. The A's just 4 hits tonight.
That one hit foul, and now it's 0-2. Well, here's your numbers, Ray. And they're pretty darn good. 4 for 6 against Brad Hand.
He might be thinking about the stamina at bat whenever he struck out on the pitch way out of the strike zone, and after the A's had singled or walked to start the inning. Right now trying to keep the A's hopes alive.
Fastball is high, so he showed him the fastball. Luke Croy is the on-deck hitter. See Smolinski, he's would hit in that 9th spot, which is still the pitcher spot for the A's. And Piscotty lays off. Boy, that's a tough pitch to lay off of, but he did.
The backdoor breaking ball, the curveball, but it didn't quite hit the strike zone, and plus Piscotty did not swing at it. Difference of a Loretto to run for Piscotty if he gets on base.
Two pitch, left field, and that baby's gone, and we are tied.
Second deck. So there's your 20th consecutive road game with at least a home run. With 1 strike left.
And he got a fastball.
Got the fastball. And you said it right. You have to look fastball. If you get it, don't miss it. And folks, he did not miss this heater. 94.
Right.
Second deck. Second deck where this ball lands. And no doubter. 20th consecutive game that the A's have hit at least a home run, and this is probably the biggest they will ever have hit.
That was a no-doubter.
Wow.
So the A's with magic in the 9th inning again. They had it on Sunday. Right. And now this game is tied at 2-2.
And Kite, to your point, if Hand only pitches the 1 inning, then maybe if it goes into extras, maybe he won't come out for the 10th. And you're exactly right. So it's up to who's coming in and from the bullpen for the Athletics. But
there's a lot of green and gold down the left field line, and they are loving this.
And they did not need the Western Metal Supply Company on that one. I mean, that was a bullet. When you hit on the second deck here at Petco, that's quite a shot. On a 2-2 fastball, 2 outs in the 9th inning, with the National League closer of the reliever of the month, actually for the month of May, on the mound, a 94 heater gone.
Outside to Luke Croy, 2-1.
That is impressive. That's impressive there. And of course, Steve Lucinich is on the bench, so we know that that's good news.
Yep.
Most in the American League, 36 runs in the 9th inning. That is special. Well, maybe the A's can continue this with 2 outs and bring Trinan in the bottom of the 9th.
So Smolinski is the on-deck hitter. The 3-1 pitch. Bounced left side. Spangenberg has it. Throws in time. Side retired. A's down to their final out, down to their final strike. And Stephen Piscotty comes through. Check it out. We got a 2-2 game as we head to the bottom of the ninth. Off one of the best closers in all of baseball to tie the game in the top of the ninth inning. So now the A's got to hang on and try to get this thing to extra innings.
That's right.
And it'll be Trevino who stays out there for the bottom of the ninth. He's going to face a pinch hitter. It's Hunter Renfroe. Renfroe, a big, powerful right-handed hitter. And the first pitch, a swing and a miss.
And then is Lou Trevino staying on the mound to try to do what he did last inning, a 1-2-3 to take the A's to the top of the ninth. So the magic of Stephen Piscotty.
A 1 pitch to Renfroe outside. Be careful with Renfroe. He's not having a great year this year, but last year Renfroe hit 26 home runs for the Padres. And he swings through that one at 98 miles an hour. So a little tardy.
Standing up there like Paul Blackburn.
A little tardy.
Like him. Tardy. A bit of an open stance and up there trying to do one thing.
And did he go? Tom Hallion says no need to check.
Good block anyway by Jonathan Lucroy, just in case with a couple of strikes. He did go around. He did not. Not a body, not the bat.
2-2 pitch. Line drive. Simeon grabs it.
That had to hurt.
Oh, that ball was smoked. Oh, my goodness.
Remember, it hurt his hand a little bit on the headfirst slide on the stolen base a couple of innings ago. You talk about timing it perfectly, and wow, that is a nice hang time by Marcus Semien. And he's not letting anybody know, but if he caught that in the pocket, which he had to, that had to sting a little bit. But timed it perfectly, and some of his basketball friends would have appreciated his hang time on that jumping ability.
So here is Emmanuel Margot, who takes inside. Margot, center field. Canna's going back. Canna warning track, and he's got it. 2 away.
Thankfully, this is a big yard, and the ball doesn't seem to carry that well. Pitch left up, and Margot able to go up with the uppercut swing. And 396 you see at the base of the wall. Mark Canna at the warning track making the catch. So Trevino throwing at 98, but a little bit straight on that one.
Here's Lopez. Fastball is outside. Lopez an RBI double and then a couple of strikeouts. That one right there, 90 miles an hour, took a little off.
That's a good slider. He's got a good hitter, good fastball that he throws with a little movement on it. The slider, even though it stayed up, but the fact that it was off speed fooled Lopez a little bit.
Swing and a miss. A little bit of a long swing, which will not work against Lou Trevino.
You see that Xfinity pop up? It's been pretty consistent with Trevino at 98 miles per hour. Just an easy 98 also.
Just laid off that one.
When you think about Trevino, you're right, Kai. Hand is done. So if the A's can go to the 10th, it will not be against their closer.
Strike 3 called on the outside corner. Good inning for Trevino. He faces 6 batters in 2 innings and retires them all. Extra innings coming up. AT official sponsor for extra innings. That's what we have here in San Diego on a beautiful night. So a 2-2 game, top of the 10th inning. The A's in extra innings this year, 4-3. The Padres in extra innings, 1-3.
What were the A's on Sunday in extra innings? 3-3, right?
Yep. I believe you are correct. Yes.
They won that one, huh? Adam Simber will face Jake Smolinski, the pinch hitter. Lou Trevino did a great job. So righty on righty, Smolinski, and you go to extra innings and you're depleting your bench. You're getting down to the point that you don't have many left. So Bob Melvin, after Piscotty hit the home run, a shot in the bench, he just a simple clap of his hands. Okay, let's get back to work. We got a game to try to win now with extra innings. Trevino, great job getting to that point. So it's Simber against Smolinski.
Adam Simber.
Doesn't throw hard, but check out his delivery.
Well, and he's another rookie.
Yeah.
So Smolinski hitting in the 9th spot. Reaches for that one, pops it up down the left field line. Freddie Galvis says, I got it, and he does. Let's check out the funkiness of this motion from Adam Simber.
Doesn't throw hard, and you say, well, why not? That's why right there. Almost scrapes the ground with his hand. Chad Bradford has had for many years the subtle rate. He actually at times would scrape the ground with his knuckles. The old sinker slider from this tall, lanky right-hander.
There's a line drive, base hit left field. So Marcus Semien got a sinker that maybe didn't sink quite as much. He was up a little bit, and Marcus has his first hit.
All the more reason to pay attention to somebody you've never seen. And Adam Roden already give him credit for the A's getting a run back in the second inning. This ball stayed right there. The slider really kind of looks like it just slurved, stayed up, and Marcus Semien stayed on it.
So here's Pinder. Pinder goes after the first pitch, loops a foul. Little "Let's Go Oakland" chant coming from a lot of the A's fans here at Petco Park. I like those socks. If you think about it though, Ray, if you're a Bay Area fan, Bay Area, in this case an A's fan, San Diego would be a perfect trip.
Perfect.
I mean, it really is.
Probably upset it's just 2 games.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's an easy flight, and the ballpark is literally downtown. The Gaslamp District has got hundreds of restaurants and bars. It's a lot of fun. You're in a great spot. There's nice hotels all around here. Right field, Jankowski backs up, and he makes the catch. So that's out number 2. And the Padres deal with this where other teams come in and they have a lot of opposing fans here. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
It's a compliment to your city. I think.
Exactly. And in case some of the Bay Area, it's about an hour-and-a-half flight, so it's a reasonable flight. Take a couple of days, and I just get sick for a couple of days during the week. If it's a weekend series, not a big deal.
All right, see if Lowry can come through with a big hit. First pitch, very close, but called the ball.
In an age in which the stolen base, the bunt, kind of non-existent a little bit. There are some clubs that do run, but if there's ever a time, especially in a park where the ball, unless it's hit like Piscotty hit, it's not going to travel that well. That's why a base hit, you get a run in score position, you got a chance with a base hit. And Marcus Semien, good enough speed. Of course, the A's know exactly with this right-hander, Simber, how quickly he releases the ball, the catcher Lopez, and his throwing ability.
That's a strike on the inside corner. So Lowry got the call on the outside corner. Simber got the next call on the inside corner. So the count even at 1-1.
Jet didn't like it. Looked like a pretty good pitch. One that he'd like to have back and not try to hit.
Trinan Petit are warming up in the A's bullpen.
A's would love to see Trinan. That means they would have the lead.
Semien, good jump. Throw to second base, and it sails into center field. Semien hops up, and he'll hustle over to third. So Lopez came out firing, but he just kind of launched it. So it'll be a stolen base and an error on the catcher, E2.
Now Marcus had a great jump, and it does, at second base is going to be fine. At third base, even better. There's ways to score from third base, but Lopez really not much of a chance, even with a good throw. But airmailed it into center field.
So 5th stolen base for Semien, and now he is in scoring position. 2-1. Lowry, right field. Jankowski to the wall, and that baby is gone.
Looking for a single, got a 2-run home run, and one cheering the biggest in the day's dugout was Stephen Piscotty. As Simber with that fastball 87 right in the middle of the plate. And Jed Lowry, man, I was just hoping for a single. And here's a ballpark. The ball doesn't carry that great. A's with the 20th consecutive with Piscotty, and now they just added on. So there you are, Cap. A run in the 9th, 2 in the 10th.
Sounds familiar.
Oh, man.
2 outs and runners in scoring position. Jed Lowry now hitting .465.
And the A's 3 runs in the last 2 innings, coming with 2 outs. So Jed Lowry tonight, 0 for 4 fly ball outs, hits a 5th one in the air, and it left the park.
Davis hits a high fly ball toward right field. Jankowski's got plenty of room for this one, and he grabs it. So the A's get another monstrous home run. Jed Lowry, a 2-run shot with 2 outs, and that gives the A's a 4-2 lead as we go to the bottom of the 10th.
To Athletics, bottom of the 10th inning. Stephen Piscotty got us to this point because of this. I mean, this is a bullet. Line drive, 2-2 fastball, 108 off the bat, 27 degree, 405 second deck shot. That would tie it with 2 outs in the 9th. And then Jed Lowry with a runner at third base, a 96 off the bat, 30 degree, 376, just enough. His first home run since May the 11th in New York. A long time for Jed Lowry, but looking for a base hit, which he does often. Comes up with a 2-run home run. And Bob Melvin, that stork look, as once Piscotty tied it, he got down to business. Now he does bring Trinan in to try to close it out and get the A's a great come-from-behind victory, just like they did on Sunday. Okay.
So Trinan looking for his 16th save. And he'll face Caesar, the 9th place hitter, then Jankowski and Spangenberg. So you always like to look at this final half inning and say, who do you not want to face? Well, you don't want to face Hosmer. And if Trinan can get 3 hitters, he will not have to deal with Hosmer. First pitch is bounced foul by Matt Caesar, who came in the game on a double switch in the 7th, and in his first at bat he grounded out. A's bullpen so far tonight has been terrific.
And you know, that was a great graphic talked about earlier with the A's in the top 5, the bullpen ERA, top 5 in the American League, and it's been very impressive to the point that starting with Pagan, even Blackburn, the 5 solid innings, settled down after the first 2, 46 pitches in the first 2 innings, then settled down. Padres only 2 hits from the 3rd inning on, 1 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th.
0-2 pitch, got him swinging, 99 miles an hour. So Trinan makes quick
work. 99 mile an hour sinker. How about that?
So last 18 games for Big Bad Blake, he's 12 for 12 in save opportunities, ERA under 1.
Big Bad John. We put Blake in there though. It's been fun.
His ERA for the year is just a shade over 1. A's pitchers now with 12 strikeouts. And here's Travis Jankowski. Lowry in on the grass, and Jankowski takes a strike. So Smolinski is now in the game in center field. Canna moves over to left field. So it's Chris Davis who's out of the game. Good fastball. That is a tough pitch to hit. Right underneath the hands at high velocity.
You know, the off day for Blake Trinan had to be really great for Bob Melvin because he pitched Saturday, hadn't pitched in a week. He was all over the place. Got the win on Sunday after the save on Saturday and trying to pick up a great save tonight. But he just showed on Saturday, if he hadn't pitched in a week, I mean, he was all over the place.
Yeah.
Put a couple of runners on base, 1 run off of him, but did have the luxury of a 3-run lead. But Sunday was perfect with a couple of innings, and off day yesterday trying to close out this game and give the A's a huge win, the first game of this road trip.
0-2 pitch and a nasty slider, and Jankowski strikes out. 2 outs here in the 10th.
That is an unbelievable pitch. Look at the 87. It just off the table, and Jankowski was one of those, I want to swing, but I don't want to swing, trying to hold it up, and just went too far. I mean, you're looking for 98, 99 with some sinking action. Here comes the breaking ball. You are going to commit early, and he did.
First pitch to Cody Spangenberg is inside. Corey Spangenberg. Spangenberg has walked, grounded out, singled, and struck out. 1 for 3. Scored a run in the first. And he swings over top. Foul back.
Well, as we mentioned, Hand, the National League reliever of the month of May, and now the Padres are seeing the American League reliever of the month in Blake Trinan. Hand gave up the tying home run. He was trying to protect a 1-run lead. Blake Trinan, thanks to Jet Lowry, has a 2-run lead with 2 outs and 2 strikes.
1-2 pitch. Line drive, fair. On the left field line. Canna plays it off that side wall, and he does it nicely. So it's a 2-out single. So we are going to get a marquee matchup here, Ray, with Hosmer coming up.
Well, the breaking ball back doors, they try to go in and stayed outside, and maybe hard down and in would have been a different story, but this one outside, and you see where the left fielder, Canna was playing him, Fowler in center, but Canna was playing down the line with a breaking ball, mislocation. Nice reaction by Spangenberg to bring Hosmer to the plate.
So Eric Hosmer, who is 1 for 4, he's got 9 home runs on the year. He's got 33 RBIs. One at bat against Trinan, and it's a home run. First pitch is a fastball inside. A little bit low, so good take by Hosmer.
Well, he's got a good eye, always has had a good eye. I think the A's would like to see him try to pull a pitch, have a good sinker, and just roll over on it and hit a ground ball to end the game.
And he took that one right at the bottom of the strike zone with a hard sinker, 2-1. Swing and a miss. Ball just disappears.
And it makes you wonder sometimes why even flips a breaking ball up there because of that kind of sinker. 98 with this kind of movement. I mean, we saw Stammen throw it 91, 92 with that movement. Add another 6 or 7 miles per hour, it's almost unhittable.
2-2. And he won around on a pitch in the dirt. Treinen strikes out Hosmer, and that is the ball game. Well, we said Sunday was the best win of the year. Well, maybe this is the second best win of the year. What a night. The A's down to their final out, final strike, and they end up winning the game in 10 innings over the San Diego Padres. So the final score tonight here at Petco Park, the Athletics beat the Padres 4-2. Time now for what should be a lively A's post-game live. Here's Jim Kozumor.
Set 1, 2, 3. Got myself.